Alright. We got ourselves GSL Group D, and we're starting it off with the ZVZ. Strap yourselves in, because it's Solar in the top right, but more importantly, it's DRG in the bottom left. And he's already doing it, I knew it! So, I was gonna say, the reason why you have to strap yourself in is a ZVZ with DRG, even if we go full 3 games, can't last longer than 20 minutes. It's almost impossible. I mean, other than that one time where he beat Cyril at Katowice with the mass Ling drop the previous year, DRG basically all-ins in this matchup so much. The last map pool on Alcyon, he was doing gold-based Roach Ling all-ins. He's almost always doing one-base Ling Bane all-ins. He is going to try and kill Solar at the start. We'll see if it works. I think it's a bit too predictable because he does this so much. He has gone 13 gas and 12 pool. Solar in the top right going for a hatchery first. If he goes for a gas on 18 as well, that's what you'd be hoping for as DRG fans. Oh, he's going to go spawning pool first? No, he is going. Okay, so he's going to go gas pool. So yeah, this is basically your standard opening for Solar. Now, Crimson Core is a kind of shortish map. It's not the fastest rush distance by any means. And I do wonder just how much DRG commits. See that spawning pool? A minute 13, that's a well-timed spawning pool. But Ling speed's already started. He's not pulling off gas. So this is not just a Ling Flood, this is a incredibly committed Ling Bane all-in. And notice how he's not building a Queen. If the aggressive player doesn't build a Queen, it means they have no reinforce, no lava injects behind this for a very long time. He's going to build one more pair of Zerglings, and then the Queen, and then an Overlord next, I believe. Even Baneling Nest first. Oh my god. Basically, the first wave of Ling Bane needs to do massive damage, because he's going to be on 1 base against 2, and with no Queen out for the longest time. He might even just keep building Zerglings. Guys, he's not even building a Queen. He's so all in. Finally, the Queen starts at a minute 50. My gosh, that's so late. This needs to do massive damage. Now, Solar's about to find out. We're on Solar's camera. His Overlord sees the Zerglings. He sees the Zerglings. Immediately, he pulls the drone back from the low ground up to the main. Okay, let's go back to everyone's vision. We've got 4 Zerglings, 2 Queens on the way for Solar right now. DRG, does he morph 2 Banelings back here? Oh, he's not going to morph Banelings yet. I guess the Baneling Nest isn't done yet, so he can't. Spinecrawler and a Baneling Nest in the main base. Interestingly, Solar builds the Baneling Nest there. Normally, players wall off with that Baneling Nest, creating a bit of a block, but he doesn't do it. Nice positioning. DRG surrounds the 2 Zerglings. The moment they pop, instantly kills them. Does he try to surround the next 2 Zerglings is my question. We've got 2 Banelings on that left side. These Zerglings going to split off to try and protect the Baneling cocoons. Ooh, good micro there from Solar. Tries to go for the red hit point Zergling. DRG doesn't want to lose that, but Solar manages to snipe it. At the same time, though, the Zerglings do chase him down, and that means we've only lost 1 Zergling for 6. That's an incredibly good trading. You're easily going to get the natural here. The question is, how much else do you get? Inject's gone down at home. He does an extractor trick as well to try to get out more units. The hatchery will fall. The question is, can he get more? Because Solar, he's got a spine. He's walled off with that Evo, like I mentioned. He could have done that with the Baneling Nest earlier, but he wants to be able to cancel this potentially, as that is blocking his second gas. Queen, she plugs the gap. Nice. Nice. She gets in the gap very nicely. The drones quickly run to the right side. Only 3 drones going down so far, but there's more Banelings behind that. The Spinecrawler does have Banelings protecting it. Drones, nice spread on them. 5 workers go down. That's decent damage, but you're going to have to just pull back, keep your units alive, because as DRG, you do not want to let Solar re-expand here. If you let him retake the expansion, he'll get ahead, because you have only now about to start your expansion at 3 minutes and 24 seconds. 324 seconds into the game. Yeah, that's not how time works. Big 2 Banelings and 6 Zerglings on the front. Now, one thing you can do, guys, is you can hide 3 Banelings here, and if the moment a hatchery starts, you click those 3 Banelings on it, you can just one-shot it, and it's even better if you detonate them all at once, and they won't get a chance to cancel it. It'll just kill it. That's obviously pretty expensive, but it is a move that a lot of people don't know. Because a hatchery doesn't start on 0 hit points, like all buildings start with like maybe, I don't know if it's 5%, 10%, whatever the hit points is, 3 Banelings, even if it builds for like 2-3 seconds, you'll still have enough time to blow it up with 3 Banelings. Obviously a massive drone advantage for Solar. The problem is he's stuck on 1 base. And with that second hatchery, that second Queen, and the droning coming in, DRG should be ahead off this opening by just a tiny bit. But, I mean, only a little bit. Remember, he's down on Zerglings right now. If he can get that drone, that'd be big. Worth it. Super worth it if he gets the drone. He doesn't get the drone, though. Loses 2 Zerglings. He's denying it for so long, though. Nice moves. Move forward. Oh, he gets it again. Okay, he gets that drone. Nicely done. Solar's in trouble right now. Think of this, guys. Start GSL. You're like, okay, let's just try and get through the first game. You're playing DRG immediately. He slowed your base down. And look at this. The natural's already done for DRG. DRG's making a Roach Horn. I don't know if I agree with that move. I really think just droning is the most important thing rather than building a 3rd Queen. I think he's worried about defending a counterattack. So he sent his Banelings home. He's got 2 more Zerglings in reserve as well. And I think with the Zerglings and the Queen, he should be fine. But DRG is not ahead on workers, and that's why the Roach Horn I'm a bit questioning of just how early that is. I think it's a safety precaution, but I think it should be something where he should be more worried about getting ahead against Solar rather than worrying about a 1-base Roach Bane all in. And let's see how he goes. Do you think he goes second gas, chat? I don't think he does. I think he's just going to do a 1-gas Roach Bane timing. This is like the simplest way to win the game. And just like, if he just builds 3 Overlords right now, nothing but Roaches, Lings, Banes, and just goes, it's such a basic attack. It's pretty well optimized with the lead that he has from the early game. The problem he might run into is the fact that, well, it is an all-in, and like, you know, your opponent already has a Spine and 2 Queens, bit of Transfuse, bit of Spine. Could do pretty well. Drone starts up. He's going to go for a 3rd base. He's going for a 3rd base on the front. Okay. So DRG is actually going to macro out of this. I'd love to see DRG poke forward with his Roaches, his Lings, and his Banes. Just make it look like a scary push. You know, make your opponent panic a little bit, scare him. But Solar has seen the Roaches. He's looking ready to counterattack on the bottom side. There's nothing at home. Oh my god, DRG. DRG's left himself wide open to these Banes. Oh no. Okay, he's got 2 Banelings. He pulled back. He pulled back 2 Banelings. His Roaches are now coming back as well. His Banelings should be able to blow up at least 2, maybe 3 of these. Oh, good Baneling detonation there by Solar. Sets off the 2 enemy Banelings, so his own ones get through. And that's going to be a lot of drones going down. 5 workers. Can he get the Queen? Ooh, not quite. You know, that's still a lot of units that he does lose there. DRG is droning through it, going Evo, going Lair. But man, Solar's fine. After that 5 drone kill and the fact that he went for such an early Roach Horn, DRG was not confident enough. He was too worried about the counterattack, and Solar's actually in a perfectly good position. Faster Lair, faster +1, faster Roach speed. His 3rd hatcheries, yeah, it's a little behind, but I don't think that matters when you're up in drones right now. I think Solo is going to end up in a very even position now, and we're going to see basically a back and forth Roach game. This is one where DRG definitely has the stuff he needs to win, but Solar is the favored player in a more standard game. Overseer taking big damage. Killing Overseers is quite expensive. This is why you see Overlord speed in this matchup so much. If you have Overlord speed and 2 Overseers, you can kind of scout everywhere very easily. With just 1 Overseer, you only get limited attempts going in before your Overseers are very low. Rich Gas does start mining for DRG. That's fantastic. So that essentially brings him up to 5 gas mining. The funny thing here, though, is he's not got any drones on the minerals, and he's not even faking it. He's not bringing his Queens forward. He's not faking it. He's clearly doing an all-in. Solar only builds 3 drones. Now DRG starts droning. So DRG here is looking like he's so optimized to do simple aggression, but there's no secrecy. There's no cunning to his build right now. It's, I'm not droning my 3rd on minerals, and you saw that I'm not droning my 3rd on minerals. That, to me, is a problem. Now, Solar sees a few drones coming out. He sees that he's finished saturating his natural. This Changeling, very big scout for Solar right now. Queens do deny it. Solar, massing Roaches. DRG's going to deny the Rich Gas. That's pretty effective. I do like that move. Okay, that's actually huge. DRG's already got a small army supply lead, but Solar does start +2 immediately, so he's a little ahead on the upgrades. Question is, does DRG even bother starting +2, or does he just go for a +1 all-in? Because as long as you fight anytime before +2 of Solar finishes, skipping the upgrade and just making more Roach Ravager can actually be a game-winning decision. Now, there's a lot of Roach Ravager coming out for Solar, but Solar is outnumbered right now, guys. Solar is actually outnumbered. DRG could choose to fight him. DRG is not droning. He's building Overlords. He was supply blocked for a little bit. DRG building just a single drone, but more Overlords and a single Roach. Does go forward. His bios aren't really landing. You want to space your bios out as much as possible. You want to just try and spread those out. Yeah, the more you spread your bios out, the better, because every time you bile, it forces them to move. See those 2 biles right on top of each other? 1 bile would have done the same thing there. Nonetheless, DRG's got this, guys. He's got the numbers. Solar should not have been out here, and this fight goes really well for DRG. Notice how DRG skipped the +2 upgrade, commits to the fight. The extra Ravager count really helping out as well. Does need a big bile there, but he focuses down the enemy Ravager, and notice that control click and move back with the Ravagers. Manages to overwhelm Solar. The advantage on the expansion timing worked out there. If we look at that fight as it starts, let's just do a quick numbers assessment to see how that went, because Solar was building a 3rd Queen. He was pretty close in Roaches. Overall, guys, it really feels like, yeah, it was pretty damn close. What's interesting, guys, why is the income so different? Oh, it's just because he transferred drones. Never mind. Yeah, almost identical Roach counts. The only real difference here is just that Solar has a few less Ravagers, and probably should have been a little bit more careful here. You know, it does befuddle me because he saw no drones on that base. And yet he still goes out and fights when he had drones on his third. Now, I guess Solar was fake transferring to the third, was he? No, he was just transferring from the main. Okay. I think this was just Solar feeling strong. He just had a sense that he could take the fight, and he just judged it wrong. This happens. It's hard to judge fights that are this close in numbers in ZVZ. And looks like his in and out micro kind of hurt him as well, I think. I think if he just backed off a little earlier to the spine, he could have defended just fine, but he thought he could win, judged it wrong. That's ZVZ, baby. All right, guys. We've got Solar down here in the bottom right side. That was a rough first game, but it all came off that 13-12, a build which only a psychopath would do twice in a row. And there is a 13 Overlord, so it's okay, guys. DRG is going to do a more standard opening this time. We would expect, yeah, just a hatch gas pool for him. Solar, I think, will also play hatch gas pool. I don't think he buckles under the pressure and says, oh god, I fell behind last game, I need to go spawning pool first. I think he came out of that just fine. The little Baneling counter attack that didn't get spotted by the Overlord quick enough. Getting those 5 drone kills. I mean, just needed to morph a few Ravages, chill out for his upgrades, you know, just get a second Overseer would have been really nice. I think that was the one thing Solar was missing, a second Overseer to kind of keep track of the army and just keep poking the front base to check the third base. Because I think sometimes in ZVZ people go, oh, you kind of imagine something, like you get this read on your opponent, you go, oh, he's 100% droning his third right now. Even though you can't see it, and then you just believe it and you go, I gotta push right now because I have no drones on my third. I better go. I should have an army advantage. Then you look at the replay and you just realize, like, hey man, if I just had a second Overseer actually looking at what was happening in the game rather than imagining what was happening, this is a very different game. And Solar, unfortunately, got a bit too aggressive there. Handed DRG the engagement that he wanted on a platter. You could see DRG was hesitating on his push. Part of that was he was supply blocked, so he was going to wait for another round of roaches to come out. But hey, if Solar's going to come out in the middle, offer you an engagement, why not take it? DRG takes him up on the offer. Now, but both sides, you'll notice, are just pulling slowly onto gas. Actually, Solar pulled onto gas slightly earlier. Notice he pulled a worker off minerals, and he replaces that worker now, right? So that just means he's going to mine his gas ever so slightly faster. It just, to me, shows more of an indication that he might want to be aggressive here with a slightly quicker link speed. Now, obviously, you look at the actual timing difference. It's not a big difference. To me, it's just a mindset thing where it's like, DRG's just like probably going to go for like a third hatchery, a third queen, a couple defensive banelings, and I expect Solar to potentially try and cancel that third base with a bit of a ling flood. Doesn't necessarily have to go that way, but we'll keep our eyes on it. Ling speed starts for both sides. DRG's actually started faster. Now, DRG did build his Overlord slightly earlier, but for all intensive purposes, the build orders end up pretty much the same. That's actually a saying I've been saying wrong the whole time, isn't it? I think I found out it's for all... I don't know, there's some... I always thought it was for all intensive purposes, and then it's like, it's actually a completely different thing the whole time, and I've just been saying it for years the wrong way, and someone kind of corrected me on that. I'm gonna have to look that up again after this game, because I remember just being like stunned. I was like, what? Apparently it's for all intents and purposes, says Twitch chat. Really? Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones, like, when you said it this long, I still don't believe it, even though I'm pretty sure I've Googled it and been like, well, there's the evidence. It's still like this part of me, it's like, yeah, it doesn't sound right. You're like, it's good stuff, man. Looks like a very defensive build for both sides. Notice Solar's only building a few Zerglings. They're both chilling. They're both chilling, guys. This is a very standard game. DRG's a little ahead on the workers, so he's playing a little bit more bare bones. Wait, does he not have any... Okay, as long as he leaves these guys at home ready to morph into Banelings, if he sees Lings come out, then he should be good. You should always, at lower level, morph safety Banelings ahead of time. These guys are so good that they're basically relying on the second they see Zerglings move out, they will instantly make Banelings at home. That's kind of what they're relying on, their insane reactions. Letting that in was really sloppy. Let Solar get a full scout. That's really sloppy, man. Because that basically just gives Solar confidence now that you're not going for fast Mutalisks. You know, you're droning. You're not going for a crazy fast all-in. So that was a little unfortunate there for DRG. Slight mistake. Extra Zergling scouts going in for Solar. Solar's been really good on his scouting. DRG is just going for a delayed Ling Bane pressure. He catches that Ling scout, which is good. Guys, he's going for a Ling pressure. 3 roaches being built. It's just a defensive handful of roaches for Solar. He could turn it into a counter offense, though. He needs more Banelings. Guys, he sees a lot of Zerglings coming. He doesn't see the Banelings coming in from the right side. Banelings coming in from the right side could be a big problem for him right now. That single Baneling is the one thing standing in his way. Lings, oh, DRG sacrifices like 5 Zerglings for a Baneling. That's not a good trade. And he's not going to find too much, just a few drones on this base, and then run away with your Banes. He's going to go in with the Banelings even further. Oh, I was not expecting him to go for that. Crazy moves. Does get a decent Baneling on Solar's Zerglings, but he also sees the enemy roaches. Now, this is a really good spot for DRG because he's building 9 roaches. And that means he can defend with these 9-10 roaches off of a 5-worker advantage. So they're both going for a 3-hatchery, empty third base Ravagerling Bane, or Roachling Bane. The difference is DRG's faked drones onto his third base. So DRG is hoping Solar Scout sees those drones and then commits even harder to the all-in. Even without seeing it, Solar's already committed. Solar is 100% committed to this all-in. Now, this is where you actually let him scout, potentially. I don't know why the roaches came out there for DRG. That was a bad move. He should have hid those roaches. He should be defensive. Wait, why is he building spines? He's got 11 roaches of his own. Okay, DRG is panicking a little bit. Spines are not needed. He just needs more roaches. I guess he's low on gas. Oh, he's low on gas, isn't he? One gas is missing a worker there. Not a big deal, potentially. But this is a massive all-in from Solar. He's up 7 workers. I don't know if spine crawlers were really necessary, but I think just as a way to spend his minerals, this is a good safety precaution. It makes sense if you're out of gas. 12 roaches are out right now. It's a 13 roaches against 18 in favor of Solar. But the defender's advantage is here for DRG. These roaches are going to take a long time to rally across this map. Ling's coming forward for Solar as well, but there's Banelings. The Banelings are very good at chasing those Zerglings. Those Zerglings run off into the main base. The roaches do defend at the same time. Some Lings get into the main. They will manage to overwhelm a few of these Zerglings, but are they really going to get any damage? I doubt it. Maybe 1 or 2 drones at most. Looks like 2 drones do go down. 3 drones in the main base. That, of course, leaves DRG not only with a favorable engagement, but also still a 4-worker advantage. As I said, I don't know if he really needed the 4 spines because he built so many roaches, but he was just being super respectful, giving so much respect to Solar's attack, really not taking anything for granted, and you got to give props to DRG there for just respecting how scary roach attacks can actually be. Jeez, how do you stop this as Solar? He tried to drone up a little. Oh, he's building 10 more drones? Oh, that's way too many. He's dead. Sorry, guys, I had to sneeze there. You could hear that one coming up on me. Oof, had to just mute the mic quickly. He's just got nothing, man. He's so outnumbered. He just committed a little bit too hard to that roach aggression. And DRG had like the perfect worker advantage. 5 worker advantage. I mean, it ended up being close to 10, which is why he built the spine crawlers, which did lower the worker advantage, but his fight defensively was so good. Let me break this down as DRG gets the 2-0, because a lot of people are going to be looking at that going, what did we just watch? So here's the thing. Basically, DRG with his Ling Bane pressure he was already greedier early on. So early on, Solar played a little bit safer, probably because he's down a game. And DRG actually got ahead on workers. Now, you might be looking at it and saying, well, that's not true. Look at the numbers, Pig. He then built a bunch of Ling Bane, went for a surprise attack. So at this moment, yes, he fell down in drones, but up to this point, he'd been droning. So he was ahead overall against Solar. He then gets a pretty decent little trade here. At first, I didn't think he'd get much with the roaches, the queens, and the safety Baneling out. But even though he sacrifices 5 Zerglings, he kills a bunch of drones, right? He kills 4 drones. Could have got a 5th there, and a queen. And then he saves most of the Ling Bane. That's a fantastic trade. You can see it in the Units Lost tab. Behind it, he's also droned up further ahead of Solar. And now Solar, who's been blind this whole time. Remember, Solar just has no information. So it's DRG who knows what's happening. He also sees the roaches, and he says, well, you're building roaches. I need to build roaches to be safe. And potentially I can turn it into my own timing attack. Yeah, I'll take 2 more gases. I'll take an Evo chamber. But I'm just going to build a pack of roaches, squeeze out a few more drones, and go for that. Whereas Solar's just like, I'm all in. He's just like, we're just Roachling Bane. I got to go kill you now. And the moment DRG sees it, he's like, oh God, I did just build up to like 50 drones. That's a bit too many here. This is such a fast roach timing. So the 4 spine crawlers actually makes a lot of sense. Maybe a little more than you needed. Maybe just 2 or 3 would be fine. But perfect defense, because a 7 roach advantage isn't going to make up for the fact that DRG's units are set up in a concave. They're spread out. They're defending, which means new units are rallying into the fight. Whereas look at how slow these roaches are. They're going to take forever to get there. So defending with the sort of identical setup in ZVZ, but being up 5 to 7 workers is perfect. This is like, hey, we have the same unit set, but I have more workers. And what's really hard here is your instincts say as Solar, well, I need to break him to punish him, right? I need to punish him for having more workers. But in hindsight, we know that when you see this army, you've got to judge that army and say, that army's too big. I can't beat that with this army, even with whatever's rallying from behind. And his correct call was actually to pull back and drone up here and try to like slow the game down. Because yeah, mining with 7 workers is like less is bad, but it's not that bad. It's not game losing. But if you're mining with less workers and you take a bad fight, that's when it's game over. And that's what ended up happening here. Look at the way all these roaches are attacking. A lot of these roaches kind of getting stuck behind each other for Solar. The Lings do run in, but they can't really join the fight because they have to dodge the Banelings. And just a beautiful defensive setup for Solar. It doesn't even really need the Spine Crawlers in order to already win that fight. And it just gets better and better as time goes on in the trading. So when you're down 7 workers and you take a bad fight, that's where things go from bad to worse. And it's unfortunate. 2 games in a row, Solar, you could argue, misjudged fights. But he was pretty damn committed, at least in the second game, so it was much more understandable in game 2 than game 1. DRG looking very good with a very aggressive, classic style of Zerg vs. Zerg. GG, well played in Series 1. All right. What the hell is going on, everybody, and welcome back. Byun in the bottom left side, NightMare in the top right. Our second match here in the GSL Group D. And it is going to be a good one. Apparently, a lot of people were smack-talking NightMare in the group stage, or the group selection. Basically making out like he's going to be easy. And I think they better watch out. NightMare is incredibly scary in PvT. His PvZ's gotten a lot better. And even in PvP, he's able to take series off the best. So I actually think he's quite dangerous in this group. And one could argue, especially if Solar's going down to DRG, like, I can definitely see NightMare beating DRG. I can see NightMare beating Byun. I don't really see NightMare beating Solar very likely. But if Solar's kind of having a bad day, he might not even have to play him. Obviously, beating Byun. Byun does come in here as the favorite, but NightMare is nonetheless quite scary. Now, we also had a little bit of a bit of info. Apparently, the players this season are allowed to add a few words of text to their name when they're introduced for each match. And someone in chat has told me, obviously, I don't watch these groups because I'm casting it right after the replays drop right afterwards. The group is live, so I try to keep myself spoiler-free. Apparently, Byun put Serral is the GOAT as his text on screen. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's freaking hilarious if so. No doubt making fun of his good friend Maru, who got rated higher than Serral in the GOAT list on Team Liquid, and I think he's no doubt just poking a bit of fun at his sort of younger brother sort of figure. Maru and Byun very close, living together basically since 2010, 2011. They lived together until like about 2016 over in the Prime House. And they've been really, really close, good friends ever since, traveling the world together to compete. So it's kind of awesome to see Byun ribbing Maru and making fun of him, being like, yeah, that Serral guy's better than you, bro. Probe does get taken out. Even with the second chrono, NightMare does lose a probe, but... Oh, and the command center went down real fast. It finishes before the adept arrives. Nicely done, dude. I think he actually, yeah, he actually got that command center started really tight. And NightMare does see the reacted factory. Sorry, as whenever I first swap to a player's camera, there's like a slight lag. That's always been the case. So I just try to swap that earlier. So then every time from then on, when I swap to a player's camera, the lag doesn't happen. Third command center. Double Cyclone 3cc? Wow, no way. By the way, for all intensive purposes, my made up saying, apparently it is for all intents and purposes. It goes back to, there was some, that was part of some statement that basically was talking about how Henry VIII has the power to interpret laws however the hell he wants, apparently. There's like this historical kind of story of where the for all intents and purposes comes from. Apparently it's very common for people to say for all intensive purposes because it sounds so similar when it is spoken. And that is called an eggcorn, where something has the same meaning, but you actually think the words are different. And apparently that's a common thing. So I learned a new term, an eggcorn, guys. Well, right now, Byun's trying to drop eggs all over these adepts' faces, and they are taking a lot of damage. One adept goes down, but the Cyclones are getting very damaged, so it's a good choice to pull back. The adepts probably could have shaded on top and committed with the Stalker, and they would have killed one Cyclone, but it would have been unlikely they caught the other. Probably would have lost 2 more adepts in the process. So I think playing safe here is a good call for NightMare. He's going to go 4 gas off 2 gate, so it's going to be a quick Colossus or Storm build. Usually Colossus off this, but Storm Drop definitely has been getting more popular of late. Now, the problem for NightMare is he doesn't know about the 3rd CC. So his Observer is only now coming out. He'll scout about 5.5 minutes. His Observer will get here. He'll go, oh, you've already got 3 bases. And at that point, he'll kind of mentally switch gears into a greedier play, right? It's, okay, I got to take a 3rd, take a 4th, probe up. At that point, it's too late to catch up. He's just going to have to play a very clean, defensive game from that point onwards. And especially, dude, if this Reaper kills this probe, okay, luckily for NightMare, the probe goes to the right side. Because if he lost that as well, that would have been a real kick in the butt. Apparently, NightMare dropped quite a few places on the ladder recently, according to ZTokto. That's actually good news. Now, a lot of people would say, isn't that a good indicator that he's not doing as well? I completely disagree. I don't even understand the reason 100%. There's a few different theories I have. None of them are true, but none of them are backed up by facts and figures necessarily. But as a pro player, whenever I was doing really well on the ladder and I'd come into a tournament, the highest I've ever been on ladder, guys, I'm ranked 2 on friggin' GM, let's go. I'm killing everybody. I just beat like these pros that are so much higher ranked than me multiple times. I would go to a tournament and get trounced every single time. And I've talked to other pros who've had the same experience where you kind of want to have like that losing streak like a week before the tournament and kind of like just be on the rebuilding where like you kind of remember being a god, but you're also kind of like in this weird position where you're like, you're kind of humbled, I guess. You kind of, I don't know if this is just me being superstitious. Like I said, that's why I said there's no facts or figures to back this up, but I've talked to quite a few pros who are like, oh yeah, it's bad to come into a tournament on a winning streak. And I don't know if we're just being silly or not, because I feel like Cyril, that's every tournament he's ever come into. So maybe if you're the best in the world, that's okay. But maybe for a normie, an average Joe player, which I think we can call NightMare an average Joe of the pro gamer community, as a guy who's kind of been stuck in the B ranks of the Korean scene for a while. I think that probably relates to him. Adept does shade in and gets taken out. We've got a Storm Drop, yeah. I really like how quick NightMare got those 4 High Templar gathering energy as well. Stalkers do blink in, start picking off SCVs. Good harassment for NightMare. I like that he's doing it kind of small scale. Problem is that his work account is obviously not great, doesn't have a forge. It's just like, basically you want to get one big 8-gate Storm charge lot ambush off. Guys, what is Byun doing? What is this move out? Byun! Oh my gosh, he's out in the middle of the map with 2 tanks, 5 marines, and 2 marauders. Absolute mad lad. Oh, the medevac with the save. Dude, that was a real dumb moment there for Byun. Luckily, though, he fixes it. He should repair that tank. I know you guys in the YouTube comments and the Twitch chat like to talk about repair. Absolutely worth it to repair when your army's at home. When it's on the other side of the map, it's a bit awkward bringing workers across the other side of the map, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, case in point, chat says Reina got to rank 2 on career and went 0-6 in his group stage. Well, not 0-6, 0-4, guys. You only lose 2 matches and you're out. 0-4. But, yeah. No, that's... I was actually talking about myself, because I remember when I was in Europe, the highest I got on ladder was, like, rank 2 multiple times, and then I'd go and get wrecked by MC back in 2014 over and over. Nice Storm Drop, but if he gets the Prism, it's not worth it. The Prism gets in and gets out. 9 SCVs go down? Dude, that's slick. NightMare's all over him. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Byun should really be respecting NightMare, and as should everybody. This man's a beast. He recalls it as well. Because guess what? He knows Byun's going to build Vikings, rally them to the corner, so he recalls it secretly. And behind this, he's already building another Prism, which is telling us he wants 1 Prism for Storm Drop, 1 Prism for Zealot Drop. I do want to see a Robo transition. That's what the only thing I'd like to see here, guys, is, yeah, Robo Bay. If he can get a 2nd Robo and a 5th gas, he can go double Colossus and double Forge at the same time, and that would be super exciting. I think he's just going to stay single Robo for now. You guys know I'm addicted to Robos because I'm a noob. I just like having big splash damage units because I'm too noob to use my gateway units properly. NightMare's a much better player than I am, and he knows how to win with this max back style. Just single Colossi and Disruptors popping out. He's got the Storm Drop for the supplementary splash. Dude, Byun hanging around in this Watchtower is very dangerous. He could have got Storm Drop there. I really feel like NightMare could have just pushed around the right side of that and jumped on him. But I like the way Byun does at least create some space for himself, even in a dangerous situation. Zealot Drop goes in, not really going to achieve that much. Yeah, you'll get 2 SCVs, maybe 3. Gets in, gets out, not too bad. 2nd Robo does go down, as well as a 5th base on the right side. We haven't seen extended Thermal Lance yet, nor Prism Speed. There we go, extended Thermal Lance does start up. And going up to 10 gateways, NightMare is large and in charge. Byun's only just started his 4th Command Center, 2nd Engineering Bay and Armory. Byun's kind of in a bad spot. And when I say kind of in a bad spot, I think he's in a really bad spot, actually. He's pulling his whole army back for this, which I think is worth. I think NightMare should have been way more patient with that. Sending that in before anything else happened was a big mistake. So he loses 600 minerals there for nothing. I always think after you've shown a drop like that, just hide it in the corner of the map until Byun's like on your side of the map and then send it in. Or even unload Zealots on the ground, do a big warp in and just attack the front. I just think that one was a little bit too obvious there. And even if it could have caught him off guard and been sneaky and successful, it might have worked. Uh-oh, Widow Mines and Vikings and Bio there. Careful, careful, NightMare. Byun's ready for you. And Byun has the better army right now. As the Colossus come out, that's going to change. First Colossus is out. Once he hits 3 Colossus, the army for NightMare is drastically improved. Right now, it feels like NightMare is looking for like a sort of weird little base trade type scenario. He sends the Prism with the Storm Drop home. He's going to send some Zealots in. I like that he threatens it, but only commits a few Zealots. That's a really good move. Tank fire could actually really hurt the SCVs as well, by the way. But does get shot down. Those Zealots got kind of stuck between the depots a little bit. Massive... What? He's sending a Colossus and High Templar up here as well. I like a Zealot run by on the left. I don't like him sending his whole army there. Is he getting ready to sandwich? Dude. Oh, NightMare's setting up a 3-pronged surround. NightMare is setting up a surround right now on this army, guys. What the hell? Who flanks with Colossus High Templar? He's coming in from every side. Oh my god, the High Templar Prism gets shot down on the right side. No, the Prism barely survives on the right, but the High Templar are out of storm range. High Templar coming in from the left and the right. Every single side Storm's coming in from, but the MPs are landing. He only lands one side Storm. High Templar on the left, not really storming anything. Oh, this backfire is really bad, I think. Wait, no, the Colossus are holding strong. One more High Templar up there. The Storms are zoning, but the Storms just didn't really do anything. NightMare getting a little bit too fancy. And it just doesn't quite come together. Those High Templar were way too slow on the flank. He needed to wait for the High Templar from the left. And having all 4 High Templar in the Prism. I talked about this yesterday. I was casting a PvT between Max Pax and Clem. And I said, look, past the mid-game, the Prism isn't very powerful for splash damage anymore. Even with Speed Prism, it's really weak. You need to have only 2 High Templar in the Prism. The other High Templar should be on the ground. Because his Prism had to unload over here, it was nowhere near the fighting. So all of his ground army was dead by the time his storms came in. Whereas if he just had 1 High Templar trickling in from this side, 1 from this side, and the Prism unloading down there, and the High Templar coming from the left, the surrounding High Templar should have meant it was impossible for Byun to land the EMPs. But NightMare, who I normally think of as a Storm King, a guy who's so good with Psy Storm, got too fancy, and it costs him big time. Nice EMP to start there. Don't club those High Templar, NightMare. Oh, NightMare's got to be real careful right now, dude. Because I feel like Byun's winning the little Ghost versus High Templar trades. NightMare's got to, like, be a little careful with this. Oh, Marauder does get caught. That Widow Mine gets an absolute king hit in the middle of the Zealots. Nicely done. Upgrades are 2-2 against now 2-2 for Byun. So Byun's caught up on the upgrades. NightMare kind of lost his lead here. He's down 4,000 resources in the units lost. Byun's managed to secure a 4th. His own 3-3 starts ahead of the Protosses. So he's actually back in this game. +3 attack, +1 plasma shields does start up. I love the idea of NightMare's surround as well, guys. I think it was great, but now he's on Mass Zealot with just a few Colossus, no Guardian Shield in the mechs. So he doesn't have a Sentry. He's got 4 High Templar, only 2 in the Prism, which, like I said, 2 in the Prism is good. You just very rarely need more than 2 High Templar in a Prism, especially the longer the game goes, they bank up a lot of energy. So they have multiple Storms each anyway. Oh gosh, he doesn't quite have Storm here on the right side. I mean, you could feedback, but well, yeah, what's it going to do, man? You could try to feedback. Okay, he flies past, which is probably kind of good for NightMare. NightMare trying to storm on that left side. Looks like he did a zoning storm, but he copped an EMP. He still hasn't responded. Wow, really slow on the split here from NightMare. That's surprising. That is very surprising, guys. He loses a pylon. Stalkers are in trouble. Zealots and Stalkers and Zealots filtering in. Oh, man. He does get in on the other side with a few Zealots. They killed 8 SCVs during this, but dude, he's taking so much damage. His units are just stuck. He's stuck. Those Stalkers need to just blink forward, man. He gets a full medevac. That's something. Over here at the same time, though, he's down 5,000 resource and the units lost. Byun still hasn't defended his third. If Byun loses that orbital, that's ridiculous. Storm on the drop is going to be nice. Good storms. Second one does kind of just overlap with the first. Maybe not as effective as it could have been, but the Zealot and the Cannon will clean it up. Battery overcharge plus the Colossus doing very well. Dude, the orbital just died on the other side of the map. Byun is tunnel visioning really hard on this. If NightMare holds, he's still in this. The Prism gets shot down. That turnaround and focus fire in the Prism with the Ghost and the Viking was really good there. But Byun's got to get back to the safety of these tanks. Oh, he's clumped up in there. The Colossus Splash is good, but the tanks are nice as well. Byun has 3 more command centers on the left side. He doesn't care about losing the orbital. And unironically, that's actually fine. Because he's got 4 extra command centers that have finished. It actually works out. I thought losing an orbital to 2-3 Zealots is pretty bad. Byun says, not if I do critical damage like that. And he indeed did do critical damage. Now, +3 attacks almost done. +1 plasma shields is finished. But hasn't started the +3 armor or +3 plasma shields yet. Byun's looking really good. NightMare had momentum in this game. And Byun has fought back. And he's, I feel like NightMare normally has a little bit more finesse. But it feels like under pressure on the stage, Byun's actually just playing a little bit better than he is. It's not over by any means. But it's a hard game now for NightMare, especially since he seems to be very averse to making disruptors. And I think at this stage of the game, the Colossus just ain't going to do anything for you, which means if you're not going disruptors, you're stuck on Zealot Archon Storm. We know that's a defunct composition at this point. But he's not adding anything to it. He's just building Cannon Battery. Like, he's playing Zealot Archon Storm well, but it's still just Zealot Archon. It's not going to win you in the long game. Things are going from bad to worse for NightMare, and I get the sinking feeling that NightMare is past the stage of the game where his army is any good, and he doesn't have a next step that he's confident in. And this just happens to some players. Some players are so good in like the mid game and early late game, they just don't really have a next step. I really would love to see him trying to get up a little bit more tech here. Maybe a triple Robo Disruptor or something like that. But it might just not be the style that he's confident in, as he's still got 4 High Templar and a Prism. Cannons, batteries, Colossus. He is taking a few more gases here. I'd love to see that Rich Gas get taken as well. Wouldn't mind a Stargate transition. These Zealots, man, these tanks in the middle just being quite a nuisance. There's no transition from NightMare. He has to engage masterfully. He can do it. It's possible. Boy, is it hard, though. Flanking High Templar from the right side. Looks for the Storm. He should pull that back. Gets a decent Storm, tickles some Marauders. It's got a bit of energy. It'll regrow. Byun does not have a Fusion Core, I don't believe. Oh, yes, he does. Fusion Core's up. More importantly, guys, he's on 5 orbitals, 2 planetaries, and he's building 2 more command centers in the main. So Byun's getting mass orbital. He's going for the Iron Bank. NightMare is not improving his army. He's not trading his army out. Oh, God, he gets caught. 1 Colossus goes down. As I said, once you get this many Vikings, Colossus are near useless. Great storms! Dude, Byun walking into those storms, he did not see that High Templar. And he wisely just clicks his entire army home. Absolutely the right thing to do. Dude, these tanks just keep killing these Zealots. He's got to get rid of these tanks, man. Okay, finally gets rid of those tanks. Byun might be happy about that just to get the supply free. That's a good move. Great move for NightMare. Says, hey, dude, you run to the right side. Kill that, and he should recall quickly to the right. Can he get there in time? He's trying to warp in Stalkers. They ain't going to do much to hold off against Bio Ghost. He's trying to pull back now. He's got a Storm coming in from the right side. Oh, big Storm. Nice. Forces Byun back. Doesn't kill the expansion. Dude, 33 workers just died. His SCVs did not pull from this base. Oh my gosh. I'm like 33. There was like 20 up there, but he killed a ton more with these Zealots. Extra Plasma Shield upgrades on the way. NightMare's not transitioning. He's just replacing his army with more Zealot, Stalker, Storm. Dude, if he can win at this stage of the game with just Zealot, Stalker, Storm, the Colossus doesn't really count. It does nothing here. Then that's insane. That is a true testament to NightMare's positioning abilities. His abilities to micro, to dodge EMPs, to bring High Templar in on the flanks. He's got a High Templar up there in the top left behind the sight blocker. He's really, really good with his Storm style. 2 more Nexi are going down. I'd feel more confident if he was transitioning as well, but he's actually doing this pretty nicely. He cannot go anywhere near those Vikings with the High Templar. Zealots down the bottom left. Unfortunately, those minerals aren't open, so he has to run through the gap in the gold. High Templar gets caught there. Nice snipe. Still no real transition. I do like that NightMare's got the +3 armor. Byun's not going range, though, on his libs or medevac upgrade, so both players are kind of arrested right now on this unit composition. Byun feels like it's all he needs. I think he's right. We'll see how it goes. Stalker's blinking forward. Colossus about to go down. I don't know if these trades are any good for Protoss. I can't imagine they are. Stalker Zealot with a few High Templar shouldn't do well once there's like 15 ghosts on the map, man. Observer goes down. It's more Cannon Battery, Nexi, a few extra gateways coming in. I'd like to see NightMare on like 22 gateways. Building 5 more right now. This army's going to come in, deny the gold. Ooh, NightMare really showing that he wants to sit on this style. That dude, he gets a few Vikings there. The Prism pulls back, doesn't lose it. NightMare's micro is pretty darn good. Gets a few medevacs as well. His Stalker micro is pretty damn slick. Colossus will go down. He's got High Templar coming in from every side. Storm there would be huge. Oh, Storm could be huge on the bio in this clumped up area. The Colossus finally goes down. It got quite a few. It's big High Templar from the right side came in. Unfortunately, I don't think he was watching it, or maybe an EMP landed on it. High Templar are getting EMP'd little by little. NightMare. Units lost up. He's down 5,000 resources. He's got a flanking army on the bottom side. Ooh, blinking on that would be nice. Especially if he can get a Storm on it as well. NightMare's reinforcements are so low, though. This army looks kind of small. Up in the top right, the cannons are getting pushed into. Zealots are going to jump in on that from behind. On their own, though, is that enough? The Prism does go down. There's no High Templar inside. More Stalkers here. The recall's good. Byun is overcommitted. NightMare's going to jump on it. NightMare's going to overwhelm. Can he get rid of the full medevacs? He gets rid of one full medevac and a bunch of Vikings. Byun tries to stim in from the left, realizes his folly, and immediately pulls away. Byun just lost that fight. I cannot believe it. He overcommitted in there, and NightMare actually found a way. He said, dude, if I have 14 High Templar constantly trickling in from different directions, I will land big storms. You will overstim your bio as well over the long term. And that's exactly what happened. Byun still does not have Caduceus Reactor, which is criminal. In a game where you're stimming this much and you're running out of hit points and energy this much, you absolutely need Caduceus Reactor on those medevacs. It's such a big upgrade in the late game. Storms go down on the Marauders, the Stalker Zealots fighting against an inferior force. NightMare. Dude, I thought he lost the advantage in the mid-game, and I didn't think he'd get it back, especially not with Zealot, Stalker, Storm. NightMare says, mate, this is for the haters, this is for the doubters, this is for everyone who shit-talked me in the group selection. You're wrong, I am one of the best. And honestly, what I find impressive about is I'm like the #1 Storm fanboy who says Storm is such a good late-game ability, you need to use it. I didn't think he could do it with this. He did this so much better. I think of it as a support ability. This man relies on it more than anything else, and he does it so well. Now, to be fair, he left his High Templar hanging out there. That was a bit of a mistake. Byun just doesn't have the numbers, though. At this point, NightMare doesn't even need splash damage. He can overwhelm with just Zealot, Stalker, Colossus. He's only got one Colossus, but it's enough to be a problem because all the Vikings are gone. Ghost getting jumped on Stalker. Zealot's going to YOLO in there. Byun's still overstimmed as medevacs are out of energy. That fusion core is still sitting idle, unfortunately. Forgetting about that important upgrade. It's one of the newer upgrades, which is why it's not deep in these pro players' muscle memories. Command Center is going to try to float up top, find a Nexus there, and he's going to feel his heart sink because income-wise, 3,000 minerals a minute to 1,000. Byun can't really recover in this situation. Mass Zealot Stalker. Stalkers do blink down just to get out of the way of any Zealots that they might have been blocking. He's got High Templar coming in as well. He keeps getting EMP'd, but he's not actually unloading the High Templar until after the EMPs go down. Then the Storms land on everything. And he can also warp in one more round of Zealots. That's going to be that. NightMare, the Storm King, brings it in with a fantastic series of engagements. NightMare, just showing how good you look if you are... Like, I always talk about hide a High Templar here, hide a High Templar there. This man brought in like 14 High Templar from different angles. He took it to a crazy level. He just kept, like, the way he just had these High Templars scattered around the map, and whenever a fight got messy, he'd probably F2 or even manually just start bringing these High Templar in. Notice that? Brings a flanking High Templar in, makes a replacement. And that's the important thing, not just leaving them all in a clump. This is awesome. And his Zealot run-bys were great. He kept hitting this third. Just well played. Really impressed with that game one from NightMare. All right. Let's go, guys. NightMare looked pretty sick in that game. Very confident and fantastic Storm usage into the late game. Man, that's so bizarre because I've played against a few players on ladder who play this style where they never transition off Zealot Archon Storm, and I always thought it was bad. But NightMare made it look good. Now, to be fair, no range lib transition from Byun. And we could argue maybe Byun should have split his army up a little more. It's always hard because you want to split your army up so those flanking High Templar can't get in on top of you. You're kind of like clearing up map control. But if you split up too much, that's such a mobile army. The Zealot Stalker Storm Drop can kind of jump on a chunk of your army, kill it. And even if you try to punish with a counterattack, they can recall to the other side. So, you know, hats off to NightMare for really just using the strengths of his style as well as he did. And what a great way to start things off. Just swap to the player's vision there, get that little lag second out of the way. Now, Command Center on the high ground's really increased in popularity. He didn't do that last time because he got it built in time. I think because Oceanborn's a slightly smaller map, he doesn't want to take the risk. So he's just going to build that on the high ground, go for the factory. It is Reaper into factory reactor. So this was a gas first build, guys. It's going to be very quick Hellions or Cyclones coming out for safety. Now, the Cyclone openings are not bad. I actually thought the opening was pretty good for Byun last game, right? Like, he got a big overreaction out of NightMare, potentially, you could say. NightMare's third was kind of late, but NightMare did good with the Stalker harass on the natural, picking off a few SCVs, not really losing anything, and the Storm Drop harass as well with the Zealots. So actually, we should really give props to NightMare, because he didn't throw units away in his harassment. A lot of Protoss players, when they're behind like that, they try to force the blink pressure to do too much damage, and they throw a lot of Stalkers away, which removes the effects of the pressure. Now, I definitely don't want to see Byun go 2 Cyclones into 3rd CC again. Doing the same opening 2 games in a row to me seems kind of daft. He's on 500 plus minerals and he still hasn't started the command center. Byun, what are we doing? Guys, I've seen Terrans do this so much recently. He's also not making an orbital before floating it down. I think that makes sense because he needs to get these workers mining. That 3rd command center is like 15 seconds later than it needed to be. Reaper gets caught by the Adept Stalker as well. He's doing the exact... Okay, so what's the argument? The argument is Protoss will never expect you to do the same build twice in a row because that's just not... TVP is all about surprising the Protoss. So this could actually work really well. Unfortunately, Byun does not catch the Adept. Oh, he sees it. He sees it. Oh, NightMare reacts real slow. He's dead. So that Adept, she's going to go down. She dies. Got to drop a battery. Got to warp in a 3rd Stalker potentially as well. Robo's on the way. And Chronoing blinked pretty hard. But always feels a little awkward in these scenarios because once again, that Observer won't scout till about 5 minutes. And behind this, Marines, tanks, extra barracks. This does get you to 3 base in a pretty good spot. It's just going to be about how Byun can leverage this army, land those EMPs correctly. So Pig, what is the reason that he goes for the command center on the high ground? The reason is Byun never SCV scouts, so he doesn't know if there's like a gateway built on the natural, if there's a zealot and an adept getting chronoed across. Even just a chrono boosted adept can get across there sometimes. Now, if you're going for if you're going a standard 1 Rax expand, you go a Reaper, a Marine, you have a bunker ready. By the time the adept gets there, you're fine. As long as a zealot doesn't sneak in, you should be good. But because he went gas first, he only builds a Reaper. He has no other production until the reactor's finished. So if he builds the command center on the low ground, it's super vulnerable with a gas first build until he gets out his Cyclones. So there's this big window between the Reaper popping at just before 2 minutes and the Cyclones at about 3 minutes where the adept can get in there, or I think it's like even 3:20 or 3:30. Whenever those Cyclones get out, I don't know the exact timing. The command center would be exposed. And if you lose your command center, SCV, when it's just about to finish, you get supply blocked. So not only are you losing the command center, you're not able to build the orbital, you also get supply blocked, which means then you can't start the 2 Cyclones. So the thing that's meant to secure the Cyclone, secure the command center, the Cyclones, literally gets blocked from your command center not building. You can imagine an entire Terran build order just going into the dumpster, specifically because you lose that SCV building that command center. So that's what we're trying to avoid, is Byun with that bit of safety. 6-7 gateways coming in. I really like all these questions people have been asking lately. I hope you all don't mind, those who are watching on YouTube and in Twitch and everything, who are just here for a commentary experience. I think when there's not much happening in the early game, that's like a good way to just kind of, you know, answer questions and just talk about things which I might not think to talk about because I've cast so much StarCraft. I kind of rely on newer players or players who haven't just been as into the game for as long as me to just ask anything that pops into their head. And I don't answer all of them, but it's always a nice way to address a little bit more of the fundamental details that I sometimes gloss over. StarCraft 3 is going to come out in 2033, guys. This is not announced, but this is something that I have been theorizing for a long time. Basically, Blizzard just needs to reinvent themselves as a company that actually cares about good games and actually get some RTS talent back in their company since they've all left. 2 Cyclones go down for 2 Stalkers. Not a great trade for NightMare. I actually think the Stalkers are more valuable than the Cyclones at this stage. Would have been good if you got some SCVs or something, but overall not particularly worth. The other explanation for why I think 2033 is that by that point there'll have been an RTS that shows RTSs can make a lot of money, and the money grubbing suits at Blizzard HQ, Activision Blizzard HQ, can be like, "Ooh, we want that money." You know how they made Heart of the Swarm like 7 years after it was 10 years after MOBAs were clearly one of the most popular genres of game. But Blizzard didn't believe that it was worth investing in, even though there was like 10 million people playing Dota continuously for 10 years. It was only a decade later, after Dota and LoL started making a lot of money from the game that spawned in the Warcraft 3 engine, that Blizzard was like, you know what? We want some of that money. And then they started doing it. Oh, good pullback for Byun. That was a good ambush by NightMare, dude. If he got that with the Edge of the Storm, that would have been good. That was feedback, a blink forward, and the Edge of a Storm tick. But Byun's going to get home. That was really nice. Okay, guys, so we've got 5 barracks, factory is building Widow Mines, just a very solid build up here, but only on 1 engineering bay, which means Byun, he's not planning to go double A bay. Where's his Ghost Academy? Guys, he doesn't have any Vikings or a Ghost Academy. I'd like to see, yeah, Ghost Academy starts. I'd like to see 2 more Medivacs, and it's 6 Medivacs. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, Byun! He's getting busted! Crazy Storm Drop attack, NightMare. Storm dropping Zealots coming in from every side. Good pullback, though, for NightMare. NightMare actually doesn't overcommit there. He only lost a few Zealots and Stalkers this game. And he actually got a lot of damage across that army. The Medivac's going to be low on juice. Yeah, that was actually awesome. That was a real good, like, strike in. Does some damage, doesn't overcommit. Wow, good pullback. Second Robobait. Now he's got Byun in a really defensive stance. Byun's going, okay, I'll go double upgrades, I guess. You know, I'm going to build turrets to try and stop Prisms getting in. No turret on this side. Guys, remember, everyone always drops into the main base on that top side. They always leave the bottom left side open. This has actually always been the better drop angle, and it will remain the better drop angle against a Terran that knows that you're drop heavy, which NightMare has been so far in this series. To be fair, this time around, he's not building a second Prism, so hats off to him. He's kind of scared Byun from game 1 into building a lot of missile turrets he doesn't necessarily need. Widowmine does get shot down before it can do anything. Great Storm. Byun choosing to stand his ground and fight here is kind of wild, but that's just the way the top Terrans play. They dance on the edge of danger. They like to just hang out in a clump right next to the Proto Splash, bait it out, and then spread reactively. High risk, high reward play, the sort of stuff that us newbies get punished for, but does pay them high dividends as pro gamers. Good Medivac snatch, though. Problem is there was a big gap in the Medivac production. He's only on 2 because he's lost 2 of them, so he's building 2 more. He desperately needs to get some Vikings out. You might be wondering why Vikings? Because Vikings have really good range for shooting down the Prism. If you don't have a few Vikings shooting the Prism down, it just has too much flexibility with where it can load and unload the High Templar, and it becomes very hard as the Terran to keep checking that, keep control of that. Now, if you are playing as turtly as Byun is, you definitely should be going range libs sooner rather than later, as well as get that Caduceus reactor that he was missing in the previous game. 2 more Medivacs coming in, so that will take him up to 6 Medivacs. He's really desperately needing those. And look at this, Storm Drop's even containing him right now. Oh, NightMare's doing such a good job of just keeping him pinned back. Look at his observer placements as well, guys. Oh my gosh, he's got vision everywhere. Dude, NightMare's got this map on lockdown. It's the dream position for a Protoss. His upgrades suck. So he's making a second forge. He's going to try and catch up on the upgrades. He does have a 5th base just now starting. Immortals are being built. So 2 Colossus into Immortals. Extended Thermal Lance does kick in. Zealot cleans up a random Marine Scout over there. 2 more Tech Labs and a Reactor coming in. So it's going to be a mixture of Reactors and Tech Labs. It's going to be like 5 Tech Labs, 3 Reactors. Mixture of Marine Marauder production. Marines necessary for killing Zealots, but they've got to avoid the Colossus and the Storm. Byun! Oh god, Byun, watch out, bro. Stalker's blink forward. 1 Medivac says goodnight. A second Medivac doesn't quite get clicked on there. The Stalker Zealot still chasing them down nonetheless. A couple of Ghosts going down, as well as the Marauders trying to turn and fight. Maybe not the best idea. He's coming in from the south. Zealot's going to counterattack on that left side. I love this. Zealot's trying to sneak into the natural. At the same time, he's going to dive the 4th base. Distraction. Distraction Zealots in the natural. Take 1 for the team. They lure the entire army of Byun out of position. A quick lift and an attempt to recall, but the Stalkers should be able to take that out. Look at this. With the High Templar, he can zone out the ground army. Yes, he's slowly getting EMP'd, but the Storm's buying time. The Command Center does not go down, though. I'm surprised he didn't commit to the Command Center. I guess the SCVs repairing did their job, and it does get back to safety, but 16 SCVs do go down. Once again, a great trade for NightMare. He does double chrono. He's got +3 weapons, +1 armor is almost done as well. +3 weapons has just started. 2-2 is kicking in for Terran. Right now, Byun is ahead in the upgrades, but with chrono boosts and the forward pressure, that's not going to last for long. NightMare still happy to just chill on this mixed Storm plus a few Robo units army. Lots of gateways as well. Big feedbacks coming in on the Ghost. He does lose that High Templar, but he gets a couple feedbacks on the Ghost, which was big. Only 1 EMP remaining in Byun's army, and that's a huge problem. Against a NightMare, he just builds so many High Templar. It's hard to keep up and get enough EMPs in here. The Stalker's focusing down the Vikings. The Medivacs are out of energy, so they're getting exposed. They're getting focused down, as are the Vikings. The Stalker's blinking forward. The Storm's forcing back so much of the bio. The tanks on the left side not really helping that much. He's got to pull back here, does Byun. He needs these tanks to help him out. The tanks are starting to add some really good damage, though. Is NightMare overcommitting? I mean, the Marauders are so low on hit points, it feels like it's not possible to no overcommit. Byun keeps chasing into the Colossus beams, and that's an issue. 4th Command Center in the top gets pushed back. Byun's only on 3 base. NightMare is going to be transferring workers to the 5th. Look at that, guys. Goes to his natural, transfers half of them. 3rd base still fully mining. 4th base fully mining. And he's denying that location in the north. NightMare is looking like a different player recently. He's coming into his own, and Byun is struggling. And you know, it's kind of crazy, guys. But a lot of people, when that patch first came out, they said, dude, this Widowmine change is so clever. I love this. I think this is such a smart change. A lot of people said it would make no difference. And I think you got to look at games like this and say, really? You think this last patch of the Widowmine made no difference? I really feel like it's one of those things when you correct things, do patches correctly in StarCraft for long-term changes, it's a slow thing until the players figure out how to use it. But NightMare has been using more Zealots, more Storm, more of this style that is just so much more effective if there aren't invisible Widow Mines in the early mid-game peppered all over the map, ruining your map control. But he's got that map control battle. He's doing a good job of it. Good Storms forward, but he does lose the Prism and the High Templar, maybe a bit too far forward. NightMare's got Zealots on that north base clearing up the workers. He's getting massive damage on the worker line at the same time. The Colossus are going to have to pull back because he doesn't want to lose them, but actually, he has enough Stalker Zealot. I think he can just win this fight. The Colossus keep thinking about running away, and then going back into the fight. I guess he's happy to lose the Zealots, but he blinks the Stalkers out, rejoins, and keeping those Colossus alive is kind of huge. Third and fourth Colossus is on the way right now. I'd love to see a sixth base as well. Now, there's obviously an argument that if all the games start looking like this, well, where did Terran map control go? Why is Terran so stuck turtling now? And I totally agree that ever since the patch came out, Terran, in some of their games, when they go for these 3 command center builds, they look like they're too stuck in their corner all game. Like, this game did not look great in of itself. However, I think these 3 command center builds aren't amazing, and I think doing it 2 games in a row was not wise for Byun. NightMare seemed more caught off guard in the first game. Game 2, it feels like NightMare is just like, oh, you're doing the same thing again? And Byun being predictable against a Protoss. We've always said you have to be unpredictable against Protoss. Byun does the same opening 2 games in a row, and he gets punished hardcore. All right, so I just wanted to check game 1 again. The replay. Did he go gas first, guys? Yeah. This is the exact same opening 2 games in a row. I mean, there is a bit of a mind game. You wouldn't expect me to do the same thing twice in a row. When it works, you look like a genius. When it doesn't work, it's obviously heavily criticized. So I don't want to be too like, oh, Byun's so dumb. But I think in general, the 3 command center build, it's good to mix in once in a best of 5, occasionally in a best of 3. But I think it gives so much room to the Protoss to macro up, and NightMare did a really good job of taking advantage of it. So it's a shame that Byun just did this same opening, the gas first, double Cyclone 3cc. Seems like a pretty good build for the ladder if you like playing to 3 base relatively safely, but you better have a damn decisive way of getting forward, getting map control, or doing some sort of game-ending push to the Protoss. Otherwise, they are going to be able to have their way with you if they are a very solid macro toss, which apparently NightMare has become. GG's. Well, what the heck? Who expected this for the winners match? NightMare in the right side of Ghost River up against DRG, Dongray Gu in the left side. And it's going to be a nice early probe to block DRG's base. Now, I've heard from a few of the Europeans that taking your third on this map sucks. So you should always go like 14 hatchery on this map to make sure you get it down. DRG is not doing that. DRG is going for a 17 supply move out on the drone. I think he's going to hatch block. I think this drone goes across the map, right? No? Okay, no, he's just planning to go 17 hatchery the whole time. Okay. So he was basically saying, I know I'm going to get blocked. I want to optimize the mineral mining in my main. I want 16 workers on minerals from the start. Interesting. And then he's just going to go hatch gas pool. Okay, pretty standard stuff. Happy to defend that third base, even though it is so distant. And NightMare is going to be rallying onto the gas. I wouldn't mind 2 chrono to depths across this. I feel like it's almost a no-brainer. If you're going to do the force them to take the third, I feel like you should always chrono at least 1 adept out, if not 2. My main criticism of NightMare's PvZ recently is it's overly safe. And don't get me wrong, there's times where that's good, but it's like too consistently overly safe, if that makes sense, guys. In that his first Oracle just sits at his third base the whole time. And it only moves out when the second Oracle arrives. Like, he is often not chronoing adepts across the map, or if he does, he's a bit conservative with them. I don't know. It feels to me like NightMare's gotten very good at, like, the macro safe part of the matchup, and he's very good at pushing with Blink Stalkers off that and killing people. I just wish he was a little more dynamic in his opening in terms of varying it up a little bit. Now, DRG did a pretty good job at first of microing his drones, but you could see that one did get bounced off the mineral patch. But he corrects that one pretty well, chases the probe away, and that drone goes back to mining. So pretty damn good handling, all things considered. Of course, the probe will immediately go back to harassing, but as it takes a hit, this drone can go back to mining as well, and then go back to attacking the probe. This is the little dance that we do, isn't it? 2 queens are on the way, still no Zerglings just yet. No chrono on the adept. Hello? Okay, there we go. Chrono on the adept does come in. Gonna do that vision trick. I gotta remember to do that vision trick at the start of the game to get rid of the lag before I even start the broadcast, before the recording. Such an odd one. I wonder why when you swap to a player's vision, it kind of hangs for a second. It's like recalibrating. Stargate's going to go down. No, Twilight. Wait, what? That's an odd Twilight positioning. I think with this, you can build a battery on the low ground already, or over there maybe. I think a battery there is what he wants to go for, and then put Adepts in here. It's actually kind of cute. I quite like that. Does make it really easy to scout. It's also just one Adept into Stalker, so it is a very kind of safe opening once again. Not going to push 2 Adepts across the map. To be fair, DRG played safe. He built 6 Zerglings. He's got 3 Lings in each base, despite there being almost no real pressure out of NightMare. NightMare goes for the Robo as well. And just lots of probes. Not really chronoing probes, though, which I find interesting. So, the funny thing is, sometimes players purposefully don't chrono probes, because if you chrono probes, you have to spend a lot of extra minerals immediately building those probes. And if you want to make sure you start glaives right on time, and a 3rd gateway right on 150 minerals and this sort of stuff, you actually have build orders where it's better to bank up the chrono and not use it on probes, and even have slight little gaps where you're not building probes for a second here or there, and then just dump your chrono into like an upgrade or something like that. So it's not leading to you have to invest more money. Now, obviously, this does mean you're cutting economy. It means you are trying to do a sharper, aggressive timing. DRG still does not know what's going on. So he hasn't built a Roach Horn, no second gas, nothing like that. DRG is the sort of player to try and defend this pressure with mostly mass Zerglings and Roaches, but he goes for a Baneling Nest. Okay, so he needs to put 1 more worker on gas. He's rallying it there. So he will be 3 workers on a single gas. And he's just going to go mass Queenling Bane. Wow. Cool style. Oh, look at this escort, guys. Look at the escort. Double Adept arrives with the probe. And that probe's going to start that 3rd very quickly. So it's 3 gate glaives into a quick 3rd. Wow. It's a pretty balanced build order, guys. It's not the sharpest Adept pressure, but it's like a decent Adept pressure combined with a quick 3rd. The question is, can DRG just bust this? Because he's already massing Zerglings. The fact that he's still massing Lings tells us he's probably looking at counterattack. Not just defend this, but also counterattack and kill the 3rd is a big option that he's looking for. He's making Banes right now. Otherwise, I would have expected him to start droning already. Having seen a 3rd base, you should not be happy to sit on just 39 drones. Yeah, DRG is massing Lings. I'd like to see him sneak some Lings across the map. He's just very much respectful of the first wave. When that cancels, these Lings are going to go around the south. So you see that? His Lings are going to go around the south of the map now for a counterattack. Yeah, because there's no way if you're massing this much Ling Bane, you're just going to chill at home. Right? Or maybe you will if you can get the surround. Oh, you came in too deep. NightMare goes too deep on creep. The Adepts blast him. The Lings blast him. All the Adepts go down. The Banelings, sorry, blast the Adepts is what I meant there. That is huge. No battery on the low ground, guys. These Adepts aren't well positioned as well. Those are easily surroundable. They should pull back to the choke point. You do not want to let these Adepts get surrounded out there. He does have a Prism, though, so he's not too worried because the Prism can just save them if they get in trouble. There is a lot of droning going on behind it. Did DRG overcommit to Zerglings? Yes. If he didn't kill those Adepts, would he be in a really bad position? Yes. But he crushed the Adepts, so it's okay. The Ling Bane overcommitment's worth it. Now he can overtake on the workers. And NightMare's 3rd may be done. He's transitioning into Blink. He's going up into 6 gateways as well, which is not a bad transition. There's no Forge. Had to warp in 6 Adepts just to stay safe against counterattacks, and it does feel like DRG now has a big edge in this game. Did he confirm the Protoss 3rd base? I mean, he saw the probe and the 2 Adepts. Even if he didn't see the Nexus go down, it looked 100% like the 3rd, but I'm pretty sure he saw it earlier when it was first being placed. I'm quite sure the Zerglings saw it. Even if they didn't, he knew it was there. Adepts coming forward right now. Queen is going to back off. Lots of Roaches coming up. 64 drones, 65 drones. My question here would be, do we 100% commit to Ravager Ling Bane off of this low economy as DRG, or does DRG try to drone the 4th? Because he could just build a few Roaches for safety and then go back to droning the 4th, but actually Mass Adept Immortal, really? Wait, what? He's not even making Blinkstalker. Sorry, guys, I didn't even realize he's going for a crazy push. This is not going to work. DRG's going to slap this down. There is no way this works. DRG's got Banelings. I mean, he needs to make more Banelings. He's only got 2 right now. I don't know why DRG's not making more Banelings right now, guys. Yeah, he's very low on gas, but still, I guess he was spending all of his gas on Roaches. But any Banelings in the middle of this could be massive. Lings go for a counterattack. They get the battery. They force a warp in at home, which is very effective. You don't want to lose this 4th base as DRG. If DRG keeps the 4th up, he's miles ahead. If he loses it, NightMare might be able to transition out of this. It looks like he is going to lose that. Oh, is he though? Transfuse is going down. Ling Roach coming forwards. Good focus fire with the Adepts on the hatchery, and he shades away. He's got the Immortal there. Slick moves. Now Baneling's going to roll in. Watch out, NightMare. Baneling's coming. Baneling's coming. Little Waddly boy is trying to get in that mineral lane. The battery gets cancelled, which is a good move. The Stalkers, of course, can blink back and try to fight this as best they can. Yeah, Ling's getting Adept and then get out of there. But I think it's go time for DRG. I think it's you got to go for a big attack. Just send some Queens and Zerglings. Don't move your whole army down here necessarily. Your Queens can probably defend that alone. And I think he's got to go. But oh, he forgot Baneling speed. Guys, he forgot to make Baneling speed. He's been very low on gas. He's making 21 Banelings right now. And he's just going to go for a big all-in. Dude, this is going to get so bizarre. Because DRG's ahead in this game. But he's going to attack with mass slow Baneling and some Roaches and Zerglings, which is such an awkward army. NightMare should be defending and turtling right now. But NightMare's also attacking into a Zerg that has a better army right now. This is a wild game. They're both moving past each other. What? Okay, so he's going to split the Roach Bane because he doesn't want to just lose the 4th base and have him run away again. Nice split from DRG. I like DRG's split. He's going to go for the 3rd base, and I think he's got enough to potentially defend. He doesn't have much Roach Ling. It's almost all Banelings. The Adept spreading backwards is going to counter these Banelings as long as he spreads nicely, but he's got a micro at home as well. Those probes are going to get hammered. Those probes are getting blasted by that Ling Bane. On the other side of the map, the Banelings washed up, and you can see plenty of Stalkers and Adepts left over. This is a messy game for both sides. The Nexus does go down. The Roaches and the Lings could take out the rest of this, but he's going to run home and try to defend. He says, look, I got you back to 2 base. If I defend, I got this game in the bag. The question is, can he actually defend? Nice Warp Prism micro. It looks like he can. DRG with the numbers advantage. I'm not sure why NightMare attacked into him again in this game. I think he was just in the mode of I'm the aggressor, I'm the guy attacking, and did not respect the fact that DRG was massing army off 65 workers. I absolutely think NightMare should have been turtled up with nothing but a few Adepts and a Prism harassing out there. He made the mistake of pushing out onto creep, and even though the slow Banelings weren't amazing, they were enough to push all those Adepts back. The counterattack was great. And this is a 2-base desperate all-in for Protoss. 17 Stalkers, 1 Colossus, 1 Immortal, and there is a ridiculous amount of Roach Ravager with more Zerglings coming in from behind. I like the way DRG splits his army. He's ready to enact the sandwich. Protoss filling and Roach bread on either side. A little bit of Baneling sauce there as well, just to juice that whole bad boy up. Look at that Colossus disappear. Nice ult pickup for NightMare, actually. Pretty good ult pickups there, but he's so deep on creep, man. He's getting absolutely trounced. The Roaches going ham here. You don't really want to focus fire with the Roach Ravager because of that Prism pickup is so nasty. You kind of just move, let your units spread their attacks so we can only dodge a few of the attacks and not all of them. DRG is on the warpath right now, and he destroys NightMare there. Fantastic play by DRG with the Ling Bane defense against the Glaive Adept opening. All right, going into game 2. DRG looking pretty good in this series, dude. Who waits for speed banes? Tryhards, losers, virgins. They wait for speed banes. DRG is a 32-year-old married man. Is he married, by the way, guys? Does he have kids? I know he's one of the much older Korean pro gamers. A lot of people like to rally behind him. He's like 32, 33 years old. I think has he not turned 33 yet? He's definitely one of the older ones. He's been at it for a long time. Obviously, first started winning championships in like 2011. But he's happy to just take that 3rd base again. Spotting it from the high ground there is NightMare. DRG, of course, just going to be chilling. Probes dancing around. So we know Dark just had a kid. We know... I know Solar's married. Did Solar have kids yet? I don't think Solar's had kids yet. But it's kind of crazy to see the aging generation of all these StarCraft pros who just are so good and have so much experience. And it's hard to catch up with those top guys, man. They're popping out kids, getting married, macroing in real life while still macroing in StarCraft as well, upping their production. It's crazy. Hitting good macro cycles, man. Good macro cycles. Married, I thought StarCraft 2 players are forever single. I think the meme is that like pro gamers would usually play non-stop since they're like 12 years old and have no social life. So then if they start winning championships when they're like, 17 to 20, and they start obviously getting a lot of attention, being a very successful, confident young man can make you quite attractive. Sometimes they do get a bit distracted by the partying and the attention of the potential, romantic prospects out there. There are moments where you go, used to be a meme where people say, oh, if you get a girlfriend, you stop winning tournaments. So obviously just referring to the players would get distracted from being 100% focused on StarCraft their entire life. And they'd be like, oh, I'm winning championships. There's all this attention on me. you know, hopefully not get full delusional. You don't want to go full Ronda Rousey, you know, but they would sometimes get distracted, have a bit of a dip down in performance before adjusting to their new circumstances. Third hatchery does go down. Adept's on the way, no chrono boost. This is the NightMare we know and love, guys. He's gonna chrono. Surprised he's not chronoing his natural one more time. Guess he's just saving it all for oracles. That is a very fast Stargate, so it's gonna be nice. Guess just one chrono and a single adept pressure ain't bad. Takes a fair bit of damage, doesn't kill anything though. Really good defense by DRG. And that first oracle is rallied across the map. Second gateway goes down. There is a stalker building. So he's going to try and time the stalker out with the oracle. And he's probably going to use that to kill this overlord on the pillar. Push back a bit of the Zerg vision. Link speed kicking in at about 330. Good work account for DRG. DRG's done a pretty good job, man. I feel like his economic growth is just fantastic. Extra pylon in the main. We should probably see a probe move out to that third shortly. Oracle hanging in there to defend that third base. Adepts are going to move out as well. Looks like the Adepts are going to cover the left side. Stalker and Oracle covering the front. But DRG is not really showing a want to be aggressive. He's just building overlords, building drones. You can see as those overlords pop, more and more drones are queuing up right now. And we should see him rallying back on a gas about now. Yeah, very nice. Just after 4 minutes. Super mineral focused opening. He's going to go for a spore in the main. Super quick Evo chamber, old school. Rather than prioritizing his work account, he's like, dude, I got a clean opening. I can do both. Oracle's going to arrive on that natural. 2 queens and a spore are going up there. The queens should defend it for now. And the Oracle doesn't get too much. Just gets a creep tumor. Oh, gets another one. Spreading it in the face of the Oracle. A little bit brave there for DRG. Definitely needs to respread a creep tumor on the top side. 3 creep tumors on the bottom, none on the top. So far, the Oracle's having an effect. Forge and Twilight's on the way. It's all on 2 gateways so far. Third Oracle gets chronoed as well. NightMare really going hard on the Oracle production. And he's going to go for a bit of an Adept pressure. 2 more Adept swap ins. That's 4 Adept, 3 Oracle pressure. He's going to hit about the 5-minute 20 mark. +1 melee's on the way. A few Lings are moving across for a counterattack. He's going to need more than 10 Zerglings at home to defend this. 10 Zerglings is pretty low. Gap in vision here for DRG. Does not see these Oracles gathering up. Lings poking in. They force some Adept warp ins at home before heading back. Enough Lings to scare off the Adepts from shading in on the first wave. Still more drones coming out for DRG. He's had an impressive income lead for a while. It feels like NightMare's incredibly safe openings. I mean, normally you want to be safe if you've got the macro advantage, but the thing is that DRG is droning like a friggin' hellbeast. I think it's going to be really hard for NightMare to keep up because NightMare is a traditionally aggressive player. The thing is he's playing so safe in his openings that he's going to have to play aggressive from behind. That's really tough. Creep tumor should get replaced. It got blocked, which is why that creep tumor didn't go down. Hopefully he notices and replaces it. That lack of creep in the north is hurting him. 6 queens are out right now. 3 queens in the back, 3 queens on the front. No queen in the main to inject right now, which means the third and the main are not being injected. So that does slow down your production a little, but with a quick 4th base, he should be able to make up for it. Few Lings going across the map. 2 Oracles and 2 Stalkers are there. Right now going to 8-gate Blink and a Robo is NightMare. NightMare's famous for his 3-base Blink pressures. Sometimes just killing people with his 8-gate Blink. Not even building a 4th base behind it and just getting easy victories if he's ahead off the opening. But in this case, DRG's definitely had the favorable opening. We'll see if that continues. Big Lings around. +1 melee wasn't quite done, but all but 1 Adept do fall. A single Adept escapes. Units lost tab positive for DRG. DRG's going up to 63 workers on 5 gas. He's got Roach speed and a Baneling has started. +2 melee is going to start up the moment he hits 150 gas. DRG is looking fantastic. He's building 3 overlords, which means this man will never get supply blocked for the rest of this game. He has literally just dark-proofed himself. Some people, they fireproof, they child-proof, you know, they do all these different things to make their apartments and homes safe. DRG right now, by building an extra like 70 supply gap here, is just saying, I will not be supply blocked constantly like dark. There is no way. He's even building another 3 overlords. Okay, he's going full of laser at this point. He's basically making sure he will never get supply blocked. Stalker's pulling back. Lings come in on top of the cannon. Oh, that's a kill, not a cancel. Nice move. I feel like the double Robo Bay, I don't know about you guys. I want him to get a Disruptor or 2 first before Colossus. He's going Colossus, which is the standard. I kind of feel like getting a few Disruptors could be big. Now, this is actually the sort of game where DRG can get in trouble, where the Protoss refuses to take a 4th, because DRG is such a mid-game swarmy guy Kind of like Sue, he just wants to attack in the mid-game. And right now, he's not droning a 4th, he's not droning a 5th, he's not teching up. He kind of needs good fights in the mid-game. The question is, will he be able to get good fights in the mid-game against a Protoss player who's just turtling on 3-base? Lings get into the main, Stalker's warping in, but it's a little slow. Stalkers on the front are trying to pull back. He's got to run away with those Stalkers. In the main base, Stalkers do warp in. Lings will be able to kill 1 or 2 of those, which is actually kind of nice. Oracles are turning on their lasers on the front, which will help out a fair bit. Dude, there's just so little defense here. He does pull back that weak Stalker. It's not quite in battery range, which is unfortunate. There's just no damage here. The pylon goes down, which means battery overcharge is depowered. Dude, is he just going to die? Did DRG just A-move him? Okay, DRG's losing a lot of units to the Oracles, but they are starting to run low on juice. The Roachling getting damaged. Stalkers and Zealots are over here. Finally, the Natural gets defended. That Zergling run by, making things so hard for NightMare to hang on right now. Having a good opening and a bit of momentum is huge. However, DRG's running out of gas now. He's running out of resources, I should say. He's running out of steam. His supply advantage is 40, but it's 40 supply of Roachling. He does not have much behind it. He never droned the 4th. And whilst that fighting started really good for him and he got some economic damage, he doesn't come out of it like miles and miles ahead. I do think NightMare can recover in this game if he starts building more like Colossus Disruptor, defending his base, and if DRG is not able to drone his 4th. But DRG squeezes out 11 drones on the 4th. He does need to jump on these Stalkers and send them out of here. Hive's on the way, so he's going to potentially try and go for Vipers. Ooh, ow. Ling's getting roasted by the Colossus. Roachling will try to jump on top of these Stalkers. Unfortunately, he accidentally A-moved the Lings there while jumping on the Stalkers. So they turned around and died to the Colossus. 3 more drones are on the way. That Hive, almost halfway done. Other than Vipers, is there any other play here for DRG at Hive Tech? Could play Ultras. I mean, he's got Carapace on the way. Ultras are really good versus Disruptor, Colossus, Stalker. So that'd be a pretty good idea. And I like the way he's mixing in Roachling for safety and drones at the same time. The only problem is he needs to keep respreading creep. 1 to the north, 2 to the middle. Get 1 or 2 tumors out this way. Got plenty of tumors there. You can see he's kind of spreading creep a little intermittently, like in one direction, but not necessarily in the others. So just want to make sure he keeps spreading these tumors. These tumors he spread right next to themselves. One good spread to the top, though. 2 oracles, 3 oracles still alive this game. No oracles have died. Units lost tab is in favor of Protoss. But does that make up for the fact that it's 5 base versus 3? Probably not. DRG's position is looking very good. NightMare needs to get off Stalker production. If he wants to come back in this game, he cannot be focusing on Stalker production. He needs to start making like Disruptor, Archon, and a 4th base, and just turtle it out. So remember, DRG is not a very good long-term player. NightMare might be able to outplay him there, but a bunch of Stalkers get jumped on. Oh god. Ravager Ling pokes in. There's 3 Disruptors on that left side. These Stalkers need to run. They do blink back again. Oracles are taking out a lot of Ravagers, which is making this a worthwhile trade for NightMare. Even though he loses a few Stalkers, he's lost 18 Stalkers this game. Yet another Ravager goes down. Stalkers chase down some Roaches. I don't think he should actually push right now, though. I think securing a 4th and going Archons is the play. Zealots are coming. +1 armor. He's warping in 7 Stalkers. He's going. He's all in. NightMare's going for it. NightMare is going to go for the all-in. The Vipers are so slow. DRG! I just assumed he wasn't even going to bother with them. Now he's decided to make Vipers, but his Hive was finished a minute and a half ago. This is very slow to start Vipers, which means he doesn't have energy. He has to give up this base. DRG needs to give up this base right now. I don't think this is a good moment to fight. He might have the numbers on creep, but the Disruptors are going to keep him back. Yeah, giving up this base is absolutely the play. Ling's coming from behind. A massive surround, but watch out for the Disruptors, man. The Disruptors take out a bunch of the Ravagers. Is it enough, though? DRG may have had the numbers advantage. I don't know if it's going to be enough for NightMare to hold this position. The Prism goes down with the Colossus dropping out of it into the piles. Both Colossus go down. The Stalkers aren't quite enough. It's just enough Roach Ravager Zergling to overwhelm here for DRG. Oh, no. The Stalker Zealot's still there. Oh, my. That's quite a lot of Stalkers, but without a Prism? Yeah, I don't know, man. I think those Vipers, imagine if he had some Blinding Clouds in that fight. I feel like DRG would have absolutely rolled him. But nonetheless, I think he's got the numbers. 2-1 against 2-1. The upgraded Zergling's looking fantastic. You could even start abducting Stalkers at this point. DRG pushing back these Stalkers. Oh, it's essentially a giant blink all-in. A few Fungals would be game-changing in this scenario. But I think DRG's got the production either way. 50 army supply advantage is kind of big. Mass Roachling thinking about running forwards. Losing creep control does make it harder to engage. This Observer is actually massive as well. Having an Overseer would be really useful. +3 melee, +2 Carapace on the way. Adrenal Glands is already done. These Zerglings are so good against Stalkers. Blinding Clouds do come down. I think you want to probably save those for a little bit longer. The Abduct's nice, though. Getting rid of the Prism is huge. Roachling trying to run down the ramp. Nice force fields. Dude, NightMare fighting like a friggin' beast. He's just doing it from behind. Remember what I said at the start of this game? NightMare's a great aggressive player, but he's going to be doing it from behind with how both of these games have gone. DRG was able to defend the light pressure very well and get ahead. Oh, the Vipers do get sniped, but that's a dangerous blink forward. Roachling's going to try to punish him. You can see the way the Lings and the Roaches are being microed together. The Lings need to wrap around and stop those Stalkers, and the Roaches are punishing. Very nice play here. The Oracles may be turning on their lasers, but the Queens will be there soon enough. Oracles only have so much energy either way. The Roachling Bane rolling forwards. And sorry for doing so much zoom in, zoom out action. I know it's a little bit shaky there on the camera work, but that's going to be that, man. NightMare can't keep up. DRG absolutely trounces Solar and NightMare to get a 4-0 out of the group. This is insane. This is DRG at his finest. This is the old dog showing he's still got what it takes to compete with the best of them. And this is just such a stunning performance. And I really love the way he managed his economy in the early game. I think we can all learn a lot from studying his openings here and just how good he was against these light pressure openings from NightMare. Would he have held up if there was double chronoed adept, super early adept oracle pressure in his face from start to finish? I have no idea. But against the way NightMare played, he played perfectly. And that's all that matters on the day. NightMare's going to be moving forward. Ling's coming in to catch the long distance mining. NightMare's kind of just stuck in a desperate Stalker holding pattern. This is his 4th Warp Prism, guys. Stalker's desperately looking for value. Lings are going to come in from that left side. They're blinking into a Ling surround, which is never good for the Stalkers. And that is going to be deadly. The 3-2 or 3-1 Adrenal Zerglings do so much damage. These Stalkers are getting wrecked. Like, look at how much damage those Lings do, man. They attack so fast as well. Anytime you stand your ground, the Lings are going to rip you to shreds. Good micro by NightMare. But it is basically him realizing, oh gosh, this winner's match is not going to be mine. I'm going to have to play another match if I want to get it out of this group. And as DRG overwhelms the third, we will see GG from NightMare. There we go, GG. What happened to all of his disruptors? He had 3 disruptors. Remember, they got surrounded by the Ling flank over here at this fight. I thought that was a bit of a dangerous fight for DRG. I think I think it was kind of scary because, like, I think 4 base versus 3 base, especially if those Lings ran in and counterattacked, that could have been nice. Don't get me wrong, is it shorter work? No, but I think if you surround those Stalkers and, like, get some guys around the back, I mean, 3 batteries and a cannon plus a few Zealot Warpins is pretty hard, to be fair. Yeah. I do think him not building Vipers straight away was a big problem. I just want to check something, guys. Sorry. Hive finished at 956. Vipers started at 10:26. So 30-second delay on Vipers, that's massive. Imagine if you had Blinding Clouds with this engage. So now if you watch this engage, guys, on that right side with the Disruptors coming in from behind, imagine Blinding Clouds in this engage as well. Imagine how ridiculously deadly that would be. Holy crap, man. You see the Lings came in from the left. He dodges the first Disruptor shot. Second shot's huge, and third shot's okay. He gets like 5 Roaches, 2 Ravagers, and then he gets like 2 Roaches and a Ravager. That's all of his Disruptor shots used up, though, and it's just too much stuff. He's just a bit too outnumbered. Stalkers aren't very good versus Zerglings. Colossus aren't quite cleaning them. Good biles on the Prism. And even though he ends up kind of winning the fight, you could argue it's enough for DRG to kill all the Robo units. So he's like, we have no Prism, no Stalkers. Cool, my Remax gets you. GG's. Oh my, what the hell are we witnessing today, ladies and gentlemen? This is the series, which we were expecting to see in the winners match, but we're seeing it in the losers. Solar in the bottom left for Vitality, and Byun in the top right for Shopify Rebellion. And one of these players gets eliminated. I mean, they have to fight back now. They both have to fight hard to redeem themselves from those first series that just did not go their way at all. They were both outplayed in those series, to everyone's surprise. No doubt their own as well. But only one of them has a chance, no matter how well they play. Only one of these players will make it to the next round. We may see a barn burn. I mean, I absolutely guarantee you the players are going to fight their hearts out to try and recover from this position, but only one of them gets through, and that's heartbreaking. But that's also what competition is all about. It is brutal. There is always a direct winner and a direct loser in every single match. That is the way competition works. You know, there's a lot of people out there work in different competitive environments, but very few quite have the same level of sport in terms of... No. You could perform at like 100% of your abilities and way outperform your average and kick butt, but your opponent was switched on that day and had really good strategies that countered yours, and they played at 100% and you still lose, and you still get just knocked out of the tournament. Bam! Walk away with the shame. That's why we love watching it. It's captivating. It's brutal. And I gotta say, someone who used to be a pro gamer, even though I miss the rush of competing at a very serious level, I still compete whenever I get a chance to play a show match or anything for money because it's fun. But I gotta say, man, it's a little bit more fun appreciating it from the sidelines. I might not have as many peak experiences, but holy crud, I don't have to deal with the pain of constantly losing against players who are just so good. It's gonna be rough for whoever loses this. It's gonna be beautiful for whoever wins. But that's enough with setting the stage. Let's talk about the micro. Byun already gets one Zergling kill. Solar wants to spread creep, and he's going to do a double tumor start. No, okay. I was about to say, against 2 extra... Oh, he cancelled his creep tumor. I think that's a mistake. I do think getting that tumor down straight away is important. I guess he just wants this queen to be protected. Going to put the tumor down maybe on the low ground would be good. He never put the tumor down. I think that's a mistake. Yeah, I think he thought the tumor went down. Oh, okay, he's going to start losing some Zerglings. One goes down. Still no creep tumor in the main. He's going to put it down now. If the Reapers jump back in and get it, that'll be huge. He's going to get it. Byun. Oh, Solar's slipping up. Byun's got momentum. Byun has momentum. Remember, these two players are always tied 50-50 in their results. It is super even. Someone was pointing out that Byun and Dark is actually a bigger rivalry than Byun Solar, because I always talk about how they're 50-50, and I looked it up. Byun and Dark are also exactly 50-50, but over less series. Solar and Byun, I believe it was something like 180 series they've played against each other, something ridiculous. Whereas Byun Dark was closer to 100. Maybe it was 100 to 160, something like that. But a pretty big difference. So Byun Solar, 50% win rates for both of them over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games and pro tournaments. Almost 200 total series they've played against each other. It's always a back and forth match. The Hellions are on the way. Third Command Center is on the way. He's going to go double Engineering Bay behind it. So Byun's going full macro mode. Meanwhile, Solar, he's established the third base at 330. He got that down. He did have to build a lot of Zerglings. And of course, that means the worker count's closer than he'd like it to be. This is, I would say, a slightly favored opening for Byun. But what really matters is how much he can slow the creep down. If the creep blossoms out and explodes, if Solar can get a big surround on the Hellion Reaper, something like that, get good creep control, then you can totally make up for this. And also, if you just feel comfortable droning really hard, maybe he could still get ahead off this opening. So I definitely don't want to count your chickens yet. What is it? Count your chickens before they hatch, right? To be fair, I feel like I'd never do that because I love eggs. So I think I'd probably just eat them as eggs. I wouldn't be counting the chickens, eh? Anyways, Queen does take a bit of damage. Hellion Reaper's going to bounce around. We've got Stim on the way, 1-1 as well. Starport coming in. Ooh, that is a quick fourth base, guys. If Byun gets his first 2 Medivacs and Marines down there, I think he could kill that. Because this creep is not that far out yet. But if Solar can hang on to it, he's got a lair, a Baneling Nest starting, so he's going to go towards 3 gas and a Baneling speed. As this base oversaturates, which it's about to, you're going to see 2 more gases go down as well. If he only goes 1 more gas, we know he's going to be playing like more of a Massling Bane style. Because like basically you need 5 gas for Hydraling Bane, the standard styles. But he's only going single Evo for now. And it looks like he might even want to... yeah, just a 4th gas. Okay, so Solar's just going to go for a more mineral heavy style. Second Evo chamber does go down as well. Byun's playing pretty passive. He's just picking off creep tumors when they present themselves. He actually missed that one. Got himself a Zergling as well. Double drop moving across the map. Siege tanks are building. It's a marine tank style, which seems to be the norm these days. Part of the reason why Mutalisks are actually back in the meta and very successful right now. We don't see them that often, but I feel like if we saw DRG versus Byun, we definitely would have seen Mutalisks mixed in because very few people are opening Widow Mines. Marine, Hellbat, Reaper, Medevac coming forward. Queen over there as well. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Okay, nice transfuses going down. Gotta be careful here, mate. Put a creep tumor down. Solar replaces one creep tumor. Byun, not able to push in right now. It feels like Solar's getting ahead. It feels like Solar's getting way ahead. I said Byun might be a bit ahead earlier. I completely take it back. Even though the creep spread's not great, look at Solar's economy. He's up 20 workers. His fourth base is like already got 11 workers on it. He's going Hydras behind this. He's adding that fifth gas now. Actually, that's a sixth gas. He already took the fifth gas on the third. This is a sixth gas on the fourth base. He's going to try and take a fifth base on the left side at the same time. That Hellbat trying to bait some Banelings into blowing up on it. Not taking the bait is Solar. Solar's so good at just staying on creep, waiting for the good fights to present themselves, not overcommitting. Meanwhile, Byun's only getting up to 5 barracks now. Byun's production's just behind. And he hasn't really found any good value. Like, look, there's just so little trading going on. All he's doing is slowing down creep spread. I don't think that's enough against Solar. Banelings clear the Hellbats. The Marines have to pull back. There's no fourth command center. Byun's going to play 8 racks. But Solar's already on 86 workers. My lord. Dude. Solar is just absolutely soaring. This might be a really one-sided first game. This might be a very one-sided first game. To be fair, the upgrades are very far behind for Solar. But he's starting an infestation pit. He's building spores on the edges to help zone out drops. He does need to spread that creep to the edge so he can put the spore right in the corner of the main. But overall, like, what a great setup for the Zerg. Hydra upgrades coming in as well. Queen will get a few hits on the Medevac. Ling Bane scrambling to the main base to defend. There is a Queen there. She could be getting a few hits on top of that Medevac already. Spore Crawler will get focused down, but Medevac gets incredibly low. And it does go down. Queen's on the right side, catch it as it pulls back. Byun's clearing creep. Can he slow this game down enough to get back in it? Maybe. Oh gosh, he's all in. So Byun's basically just doing an 8 racks Marine tank all in. He's going to have 5 siege tanks and just a crazy amount of Marines with 2-2. Hive's just started. Solar does have a tendency to like over drone sometimes, but I feel like with a 20 army supply advantage and a 15 worker supply advantage, I don't see how this ever works. Byun essentially is looking for a maxed out engagement that just destroys Solar, and then he uses that to leverage his way to a victory because there's no 4th command center, no 2nd factory, no 3-3. Our man, our Terran man on the street right now is all in. He's looking for catching Solar in a bad fight. Solar, if he goes for a counterattack, he can rip him apart. But he doesn't realize what's happening. Solar's not been scouting. He has no idea about the 8 racks right now. Byun's going to push in on the front. Massive Marine tank. Solar may sense what's happening, but he does not have clear proof and knowledge that this is exactly what's going on. Mass Ling Bane getting ready for a surround. That's exactly what you want to do here. Ling Bane Hydra coming forward. Stim happens again, as does the pre-spread. The tanks are looking good. Mass Ling Bane counterattack is ready. Byun's pushing the Overlords. Oh no! Solar's Overlords are out front. Banelings do clear the front Marines. Those Overlords need to get to safety. Massive counterattack comes in though. The Ling Bane does run into a bit of a semi-wall. Byun raises the door, but that's a lot of Ling Bane. They'll be able to get through there. Solar wisely gives up a base. There's no reason for him to fight out front. He's going to clear that 3rd base, take all of that mining out. He could bring these units in to counterattack from behind. Solar's trying to make sure he takes the perfect engagement. He's down 18 army supply right now. He's got to be careful, but he's interrupting the reinforcement, which means the longer he delays taking this fight, the better. His Hive's done, his Lurker Den's done, his 2-2 is not quite ready. Solar is delaying engaging until the upgrades are even, and that's a very smart call. As long as Solar maxes out on Ling's, Bane's, Hydras before taking the fight, I do think he can win, especially with the flank coming from the top right. Tanks pushing forward. Byun wants to push his hand. He wants to make him take the fight before he's ready. 2-2's not quite done. 2-2 is not quite done. Solar needs to buy another 15 seconds. Plus 2 carapace is ready. That's the most important upgrade. It's okay if he goes for it now. Will he do it though? Will he do it? Massive Ling Bane flank comes in from the right side of the Hydra Ling Bane. The Banelings destroying the Marines on the left side. Some Marines escape on the right. Is that enough for Byun though? I'm not quite sure. The drop in the south takes out that 4th base. He lost his 3rd, his 4th. But Byun does not know about the bottom right base. If the Marines find that, that would be huge. If he gets down there and kills that base, that's game-changing. But without it, not necessarily enough. Byun does not have any tanks. 1 tank, 2 libs. His 3rd base is resaturating now. He's down 34 workers. But he does not find the base in the bottom right. This base is huge for Solar. This base here as well. I do think Solar is in a little bit of trouble. He's making Lurker range, +1 range. He's got a Viper as well. These sort of 3-base all-ins, it really feels like Solar's weak to these. Remember, Hero Marine beat Solar with these. Round of 8 of Katowice 2022 when we first went back to LAN after COVID. Oh, be careful. Okay, takes a few Lurk hits. Luckily not as bad as they could have been. Only loses a few Marines. Liberator's in the top side. Queens should be able to take that out with a few transfuses going down, and indeed he will. A little bit of a sloppy double lib siege. He's going to go for a crazy Marine drop. Okay, Byun's looking desperate. Byun is looking desperate. That being said, it could work. We've seen Byun win games with this sort of move many times before. Oh, the Parasitic Bomb. The Parasitic Bomb, the Hydras, you can't escape. There's Hydras on the right as well. There is no escape. Oh, he saves 8 Marines into the medevac. I don't think that's enough. He's deep on creep in the top as well. Byun is going for an Omega YOLO. The Lurkers aren't burrowed. They try to burrow now. No scan. Byun has to pull back. Oh, he doesn't have a scan, it looks like. The Marine tank is sieged. He's spreading out front. The Lurkers starting to cleave through those front ranks of Marines. This fight will decide the game. Can Solar hold on? Banelings only connect with a few Marines on the right side. I think Byun might have this. Byun may have enough to push through. Oh my gosh! You're kidding me! Byun was looking so dead! He was so far behind in this game! But dude, oh, the Marines are weak, the Marines are weak, the Marines are weak, the Marines are weak. Blinding Cloud goes on the Marines rather than the tanks. I think that's an okay call. The tanks are going to be gone. The Marines are low. The medevacs are low. The Hydras are defending. These are 1-2 Hydras against 3-3 Marines. The Marines are the much better unit. He redrops the main base. The spawning pool's taking damage. Oh god. Oh gosh. He's going to lose the spawning pool. That is a disaster. More Marines come in the front. Byun in it to win it. He looked so bloody desperate. He knew he needed to win right here, right now. And obviously, Byun is the one guy who finds a way to do it. He was so screwed in this game. But Byun fights back like a bloody beast. Solar is so confused. He's not even confused. He's droning because he doesn't have a spawning pool. So he's panicking right now. He doesn't know what to build. He just doesn't have any army. And Byun is going to win with a handful of Marines. You are kidding me. What a crazy series of moves. Byun upped the ante, forced the trades, and just said, if I keep just diving around and forcing trades at high intensity, I can run you through. Very well played there by Byun. If I have to criticize that game for Solar, guys, I think the first engage on the tanks was not good enough. So I think he left his Overlords out front for way too long here. Those Overlords should have been pulled back earlier. I think the fact that he's still building drones at this point is utterly insane. It makes no sense at all. Even though it's only one, it just, to me, speaks to the mindset. I also don't really feel like Lurker Den and Hive is necessary, and I don't think it really ever has been. Even though I get why you want to do it, especially if you don't realize this is an all-in, which I don't think he realized for a long time, I really do feel like as Solar here, he could have been a little bit more heavier maxed on Lingbane Hydra, and he should have sent more units in for the flank. Now, if we find the engage, I'll fast forward to it. I think this is a good counterattack. Kills a bunch of production. He keeps all the reinforcements at home. I don't know how much he actually killed. Like, what did he kill? Depots? Yeah, he kills all the depots. You know, this supply box, this is a lot of minerals he has to rebuild. His production isn't down. But I just think he needed to reinforce this so he has a bit more Lingbane in the flank. Because you really want a 3-sided flank from this side, and from the top right. If you can come from there as well, that's a huge bonus. There's also an argument that he should have split some units down here. Losing this base is big, right? He didn't need that much down there. He needed to kind of pull back and spread his units out a little bit better. But he got baited into the tanks. Now, when we look at the flank when it happens, notice that Lingbane was a little bit far back on the right side. And once he does come in, those Banelings don't connect. Kind of connects on the left, but then the Marines barely escape. If he gets those Marines down, he kind of shuts this down completely. So just slightly shy of being able to shut it down. And, you know, hats off to Byun for doing as well as he did. Just a little bit more of a flank from behind would have been really, really nice. I still think Solar's in the game at this point, but I just don't think he should have lost this whole base down here. I mean, he's lucky he got this hatchery up, because if he didn't get this hatchery up, losing this, like, if Byun just then moved to the south base, Solar's dead at this point. So I think not sending any units to the south was a bit of a mistake for him. That definitely cost him. Hats off to Byun, though, man. The power of these Marine tank call-ins is really hard to stop. We've all died to these in the past where you think you're able to hold and you're just not quite able to. So very well played. Losing the gas mining on those two bases is actually massive, because this really screws up his ability to make like Lurkers, Banelings, and Hydras and Vipers here as he needs to. I do think he overbuilds Hydras at this point. I think he should be building more Zerglings and more Lurkers, if that makes sense. I feel like getting Lurkers, Vipers, Lings and Banes are probably the key units. You guys let me know if you disagree. This is a really good move, though. This is the classic that Byun does whenever he's in a hard spot. He just forces crazy trades, catches the Zerg out of position a little bit, and even though he loses a lot of units in the main, it allows him to trade, and more importantly, even though it's a bad trade, it gets the position over here. And this is where he gets the good trade. So the Lurkers burrow, and they're buying time for himself. I kind of wish Solar had rebuilt this base on the side and was willing to just give up the base, because I always feel against this sort of all-in Terran style, constant like Ling run buys and just being willing to give up bases and kind of transfer drones is good. But because he's got so few hatcheries, he's like, no, I need to defend. These Banelings do nothing. So the Banelings are attacking around a corner to try to get at those Marines. That's never going to work. Realistically, he needs the Viper. He just can't fight yet. But he kind of has to because the Marines are going to kill the hatchery. Giving up the hatchery was the right call here. But because he hadn't started this hatchery, he felt like he needed to defend it. If he'd started this hatchery, maybe starts this one as he makes the choice to pull away, I think he's fine. Either way, though, hats off to Byun for upping the ante. Pulls him into the main, makes him panic, pulls back to the third, tries to defend. Byun destroys this engagement really hard. Gets the Lurkers before they really get any damage. And then it's game. Very nicely done by Byun. Good comeback. All right, guys. Byun in the top right side with a sick comeback in the first game. 2-Rax Reaper put him behind. He's going to do it again, even though I put him behind. Byun! Hopefully he changes it up and gets some more damage this time. Solar's gone 15 hatchery, 15 pool. Very, very interesting to see the 15-15. I love this opening. You guys know I love this opening. I talk about it all the time. His Overlord was about a second late there. He could have started that a second early. Not a big deal, though. Overall, pretty optimized, especially as he doubles that drone up perfectly. He should go for the spawning pool right on about 1 minute and 3 seconds, maybe 1 minute 2. This map actually has really good mining, so you can get that down right on 1 minute and 2 seconds. Very nicely done. Second barracks here for Byun. Now, I love that Byun makes comebacks like that, even after I thought Solo was miles ahead and should have won that game, and I stand by that. It's not like my analysis was wrong. It's just Byun gets under Solar's skin. Solar gets caught out by these sort of mass marine all-ins sometimes when Byun... It's like when Byun knows he's way behind, he steps it up a notch. And he really goes for these high-risk marine dives that can pay off in a very big way. I do think losing his third base with a double gas there and the fourth in the bottom with the extra gas was huge. I think that really hurt Solar. Yeah, with this build, this is one of the best ways to do it. Mine this open. I don't think you need to mine it open too early, but with these first 2 workers is a pretty good idea. Because you can wall off with a Roach Warren in an Evo chamber and take your third up there if you choose to play a 0 Ling speed opening. And it seems with no gas... Oh, he's going to play 3 hatchery gasless. Hello. Dark style. Not bad. Now, Byun's also opening up this right side, which is interesting. Reaper's coming forwards. It's only 2-Rax Reaper, guys. Third command center goes down. Solar sees this. Perfect scouting for him. And the Reaper's going to come in. Let's see what damage he can get. Now, there is only 2 Zerglings. Of course, the Queen will come out very soon, so you don't really even need to build Zerglings at all if you're willing to do a Spore Trick. Solar decided to build those 2 Lings just to make sure he was nice and safe here. Now, going for an early Creep Tumor is normally not favored with a 15-15. But Solar... Okay, no, he does. For a second, I thought... he's going to connect the bases. Makes sense. Yeah, just to make sure his queens can move around. He screwed that up last time. I've always talked about how Solar was the first guy who started doing this all the time. The Creep Tumor connecting the bases, and that's unfortunate. Byun's going to want to run to the natural and then hop 1 Reaper up, a single grenade there to finish that. See? Yeah. Because he knows if he lets it regenerate... Oh, it barely got the 5 hit points. It got the 6th hit point up and survived. Oh, that Creep Tumor baiting him. And it spreads a new one. So now even if you kill that Creep Tumor, the new one's still alive. Oh, Byun gets baited by the Creep Tumor and loses the Reaper. Very nice. So this is a cool 3 hatchery gasless. He's now taken a gas, so it's not completely gasless. But he should be going roaches off this. If he goes straight into mass Zergling, that would be very, very slick. Third command center is on the way in the main. We've got the Starport and the Factory R up. Looks like a Banshee follow-up for Byun. Could be Raven, but that's pretty rare these days. Another Creep Tumor does go down. This one's surviving in the main, though. Has got to keep Solar very happy right now. Oh, that Reaper almost goes down. Ling speed. He's doing Ling speed. Okay. Wow. Oh, man. This is... Because he's got so much lava with the quick third hatchery. He's going to have 3 mineral lines up so early Solar's opening is stunning. And remember, Solar got ahead last game. He's going to be so far ahead this game. And if you go Banshee, that's the worst thing ever. No, don't go Banshee. Oh, no. You guys know I've always hated this Banshee opening. I've kind of... It's earned a begrudging respect because for whatever reason, it always seems to catch the Zerg off guard because Zerg off these openings is always worried about the Stim Marines, the potential for Hellions, Hellbats, maybe a Liberator. They're very rarely thinking about a Cloaked Banshee. That being said, this appears to be a safety Banshee. Ah, okay. So I'll explain Byun's thought process. Off of these gasless into 3 base openings, it's very common for Zerg to go straight into Roaches. And obviously, whenever a Zerg plays Roaches, they often like to shove across the map, sometimes with like just a massive Roaches, do a big Roach Ravager push. And with your barracks exposed on your natural, if you lose these barracks, you lose your upgrades, you lose half of your production or most of your barracks production, you could lose the game. But having a Banshee means as long as they don't bring Queens with that, the single Banshee can pick off all the Ravagers and defend you. So just one safety Banshee into double upgrades, and then he's just going to swap into Medevac, tank production, 3 more barracks, quite a standard play for Byun. Now, Solar is on 56 workers at 5 minutes, 3 mineral lines full. He's adding double Evo. He's going up to 5 gases. He doesn't have a lair yet. And you might be wondering, well, why is that? The reason is he wants to go 1-1 upgrades as quickly as possible, starting that at 515 while having a monstrous economy. Oh my gosh, he's breaking the rocks down as well. This is such a good way to play Crimson Court. A lot of the features of this map look like they should be super Terran favored, yet I've really enjoyed playing on it as a Zerg versus Terran, and I think Solar, what he's doing here is just giving me yet another reason to stop vetoing this map in any tournament against Terran. I really love what he's done here. Very nice opening. Banshee gets 2 drones, nothing else. Without Cloak, you're not really expecting much. 4th base is on the way. Bainley Nest, Lair, and he is up to 1, 2, 3, 4 gases. Ooh, Solar's gone up to 70 drones as well. This base is going to be fully saturated before it even finishes, guys. He's already rallying drones out there. Okay, here comes the first pressure from Byun. Byun's down 20 workers again. He's down in army supply, or even in army supply at best. Yep, down in army supply once the next link start up. Dude, Solar is just trouncing Byun in the early game and the macro game. That being said, Byun's had the front driver's seat. He's been the one applying pressure. And Byun always plays better StarCraft when he's attacking than defending. He's a very good offensive player, even when it doesn't seem like the numbers are adding up. Oh! Almost stays a bit too long. He loses 3 Marines, but overall, good trading for him. A couple hundred resources ahead and the unit's lost. Armory goes down after going for 3 barracks, so it's going to be 5 racks Marine, Tank, Medevac. 5th gas goes down on the 3rd base as well. At the same time, the infestation pit's down. The 4th base is mining super heavily. And a 5th base in the top left. I love this 5th base location. I think as a Terran, it's hard to push this bottom right side into this base and at the same time push the top left. So as the Zerg, you kind of want to expand up along these distant sides and say, look, I might have to cancel the top left, but then I can take this bottom right. Or I might have to cancel this bottom right area, but then I can move my economy up to the top left. So Byun's pressuring the bottom right. Okay, no worries. We'll just spread creep really well in the top left. We'll transfer drones up there as we need to saturate a 5th base. 2 2s on the way at the same time for both sides. Hive has already started at 7.5 minutes. I love Solar's position. The only question I'd have here is, what's the follow-up? Is it just straight Ultra? Because we don't see a Hydra Den, guys. If he wants to go Lurkers, he needs a Hydra Den or he can't make a Lurker Den. It looks to me like he's just going to play Ultras and Vipers. Viper's very good for parasitic bombs to damage the medevacs. Gives you a bit of mobile anti-air. Banshee does delay some creep in the north. Queens are going to move up there. It'd be nice if you could break down, maybe not those rocks, but maybe these rocks here as Solar, just to give yourself a bit more freedom of movement. Solar's going up into the 80s on the workers. Queens will push back the Banshee. Byun not watching, so he's going to lose that. Nice. Bit of creep should be spreading up here as well. He's going to spread it over there, but not there, which is odd. Bit of creep got cleared in the middle. South side, those Marines are still hanging out, denying. Spire goes down. So he's decided to play Broodlords, but he's decided it pretty late. Normally you start the Spire at the same time as the Hive, so I really do think it's just Adrenal Glands and Vipers. Maybe not even Ultras. Maybe just Adrenal Glands and Vipers to start with a delayed Broodlord transition. A couple of building SCVs and depots will go down. Not too bad for Solar. Lets that depot survive. Byun decides, I'll cancel it for you, no worries. 3 more barracks come down. Expect 3 tech labs there momentarily. Byun with a lot of idling workers right now. That tech lab unfortunately got blocked, but he does realize and starts it now. Concussive Shells hasn't started. We'll keep our eyes on that upgrade. Ultra Cavern, a Viper, Adrenal Glands, and a Spire. So opening up all of the late game options is Solar. Now, you guys know I'm a big proponent of Corruptor Ultraling Bane. I think it is one of the best compositions out there for the mid to late game ZVT. Ooh, that was a pretty awkward trade for Solar. He just lost a lot of Ling Bane for one Siege Tank. That was very rough. I would like to see a second Viper. If we're going to go for Vipers, I really want it to be Vipers rather than Viper. Byun's now ahead in the supply after Solar took a few sloppy trades. He's going 8 Corruptors, so he's going to go for a pretty crisp Broodlord timing. It's not as fast as it could be, but it's still going to be pretty damn well timed. He's not making 3-3, and this is a really good tactical decision. Because if you go 3-3, you're not going to have enough gas to make Broodlords, to make Ultras and Ultra upgrades. So Solar's saying, look, 3-3 is probably not going to kick in for a long time. I'm going to go for a really good Broodlord Ultra transition, and then I'll start 3-3. Only after that fight has the potential to win the game. Now, right now, we have 6 tanks, 50 Marines, and only now a Viking starting for Byun. Dude, he's screwed. If these 8 Broodlords morph the moment the Great Spire is done, I do not see him defending his 4th base. He can at least lift the command center and pull it back, but 2 Vikings ain't going to help him defend that. A Ghost Academy's up, +2 vehicle weapons, 3-3 on the way. Byun's trying to build 2 more command centers. Byun's just casually playing a slow, long macro game. Meanwhile, Solar is looking for a Broodlord timing, and those Broodlords have finished morphing. I'm looking for them. I don't know where they are, guys. We're going to just click the button. They have not finished morphing. They haven't even started morphing. Interesting. Solar's taking his time in this game. Every second that goes by gives Byun time to prepare. It feels like Solar's so used to being the defender that he's waiting for Byun to make a move. He's not making it, and Solar's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go. All right, if you're not going to fly Medivacs into my Corruptors, I guess I'll just turn them into Broodlords and try to win that way. Ultras are on the way as well. One of the big problems he could run into is the fact that he does not have Corruptors. So it's just on the 9 Queens to defend against the Vikings, which is not the worst thing because there is creep in the middle of the map, but it could be a little awkward. A couple snipes go down. Does take 2 snipes to kill a queen. Oh, Broodlords are here. Not going to be too happy about using snipes on random queens now that you see the Broodlords. This is a hard spot to find yourself in as Byun, double drop in the top left, does get F2'd back to the middle. Would have been nice to have that actually drop on location. He does double back and sends it back down there, but right now, where are the queens? Where are the queens? Transfuser's going down. Abduct on the Vikings, but they immediately pull back. Not the best abducts. Broodlords are kind of on their own. One of them has drifted very far forward in the top left. It looks like the drop does get forced to pick up, but he could easily redrop that. Solar's bringing his whole army to the front. It seems like there's a little bit of disorganization here for Solar, as he does lose a couple of Broodlords to snipes and Vikings. The queens, though, are holding that position. Broodlords can still poke in and poke out and get those tanks to do massive friendly fire. Ultraling Bane's going to roll in the top. Very nice attack. Those Banelings will clear out that mineral line. He pulls back the ground army. Banelings clear 30 SCVs in that top base. Meanwhile, Broodlord Queen down here absolutely raining down death on that mineral line. Look at that. Every time he shoots the Broodlings in, the tanks are friendly firing their own units. The ghosts are starting to go down. Yes, the queens and Broodlords are falling, but there's more Ultraling where that came from. Solar, though, decides to back off. 37 workers went down. You're on 82 workers. You can just play Ultraling Bane Corruptor, and you're in such an advantage. He's still got some Broodlords alive. The Ling run by in the north is coming in. Solar with a fantastic opening, looking so good. And Byun playing a very defensive style after that early game. But I really want to see Byun move away from the 2-Rax Reaper opening. I feel like Solar gets ahead every time he plays against this. And especially with this opening, he got miles and miles ahead. So definitely want to see Byun mix things up. We already saw in his TVP match, he wanted to do the exact same opening 2 games in a row. Didn't work out. He's done the same opening twice in a row here against Zerg now. I always feel like part of what made Byun so good and so well-rounded in the last year is the variety. He used to be a guy who'd do the same build 400 times in a row and win by being better than his opponents. That doesn't work in 2024. You have to surprise your opponents. You cannot be predictable. Ultraling Bane coming forwards. The Baneling's getting blasted by the tanks, but there's so much Ultra Zergling, it might not matter. The Bio Ghost pulling back. The Lings are breaking those snipes. The Ghost's unable to snipe while the Lings are hitting them. Notice he tries to shuffle the Ghost back, but he just can't quite get the snipes off. He can't quite get the snipes off. The Ultras get on top, and Byun does get taken down. Solar there. What a brilliant opening. Gets the 3rd base up and doesn't play Roaches. He just goes Lings, Ling speed, gets the pretty fast Broodlord timing off to punish this forward middle base. Because the map's so small, your creep is there, which means your queens can support. Beautiful play for Solar in game 2. All right, well, Solar gets way ahead, crushes the 2-Rax Reaper, and has a slick build order. But this time around, is he going to... Ooh, he's going to expand to the front. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I think my man wants to take a third on the gold base. Meanwhile, beyond in the bottom left side of the map, going for a more standard Barracks Gas opening. He could still do 2-Rax Reaper from his main base. This is a very short rush distance on this map, so it actually could be quite effective. Now, I would argue that if you go for this hatchery and then you take the gold and do a sort of 1-1 roach aggression, that's going to be hard for Terran to stop, right? They can kind of center their tanks and bio around this area, try to like wall off over here and over here a little bit. But definitely something that you could keep in mind, because if you take the gold base, just being defensive is very scary. But if you're very aggressive off of a gold base, you can use it to like supercharge an attack that you're doing. That could be really good. How do you study to have your arsenal of random sidebars? Oh, we're talking about commentary? Sorry, I thought you were talking about strategies for a section. I was like, what are we talking about? The analogies? Yeah, I don't know, man. Just watch a lot of dumb internet videos, hey. Go wherever my imagination is. You guys will notice there's been a lot of Game of Thrones references lately. Wonder why. Definitely not because I'm listening to the audiobook of the first Game of Thrones novel. That's like basically, you guys can just tell what media I'm consuming through my commentary usually. Except for the dirty stuff, that's just every day. Which, I mean, to be fair, that's probably my incognito browser history, let's be honest. Besides the dirty jokes. But in terms of the TV shows, books that I'm reading, that sort of stuff, you can usually figure it out from the references I'm making. You know, I watched a bunch of Starship Troopers videos for a while, kept on talking about kill all the bugs and all that sort of stuff. Been playing a bit of Helldivers, keep talking about liberty and democracy lately. You know, managed democracy, freeing you from the tyranny of choice. It's good stuff. Third hatchery in the back. So he's just going to take the front hatchery to get his creep started earlier. Takes the safer hatchery in the back. It's a good way of doing it as well. You know, I don't know why I haven't done this at all against Terran on this map. I really should have tried it a bit more. I guess it's because I don't play Ling Speed. So taking this and defending it without Ling Speed is a nightmare. So actually, yeah, no. This makes sense, though. If you're happy to play a Ling Speed opening, it's a good way to play. I like it. I like Solar's build. Third command center comes up super early for Byun. So this was 3cc just off a reacted barracks. And he's going to go 3 racks behind it. Now, this is not my favorite build in terms of flexibility from Byun. Especially if the Overlord sees what's happening. Ooh, 3 Marines. Can he see the third command center is the question. Solar needs that vision. Oh, he sees it. That's huge. Spotting that third command center being up so early. He sees that started at about 240, 235, something like that. Very early third command center. And Solar should just be droning real hard here. Now, obviously slightly supply book from losing the Overlord, but he's droning hard, pumping out queens. The new Overlords pop out almost instantly. So he's able to just keep that production up very nicely after that stage. He's also connected this area with creep. We would like to see him lower these minerals at some point with just 1 or 2 drones, just so he can get freedom of movement around his own base. Pig, did you watch John Carpenter's The Thing yet? I did not. People have been telling me it's a classic. I watched the trailer. I think I downloaded the movie. I don't think I can convince Dot to do it, so I should just watch it on my own. I make Dot watch a lot of like old movies that we've never watched, and she like half the time loves it, and the other half the time she hates them. She's like, "This is the worst, dumbest thing I've ever watched. Why are you making me watch this?" And she gets kind of mad at me. And then she completely forgets about the awesome movies like Razorback that you guys recommended to me. The best campy Australian horror film of all time. It was terrible, to be fair. That was a terrible film, but it was so funny. Like, I loved Razorback. I thought it was so funny with how kind of bad it was, but great at the same time. Oh, that's a good scout. But she was not happy. She was like, you get your recommending me films license revoked. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know. I'll probably just watch. I'll have to check it out on my own. Sorry, guys. Production tab gone. My bad. Bad casting. Let me cast the game. I'm sorry. This is a very important match. It really is. 5 barracks coming up. Double upgrade starting. Okay, so double upgrade rush up against single eBay. No way. He's doing single eBay. Oh my god, guys. Is this the Hero Marine 8 racks build? This looks like the Hero Marine 8 racks build. Oh, wait, he's going to do a 1-1 Marine tank all in. Guys, remember, Hero Marine did this at Katowice. Hero Marine rocked up without practicing, did a bunch of meme builds, and destroyed the groups, and did really good until he got to the final bracket. Like, he outperformed everybody's expectations. He wrecked everybody he played, basically. And yeah, if we see 3 more barracks go down, this absolutely could lead into that. Because normally, if you want to play a longer game, double upgrades is vital. The only reason you go single upgrades is if you never plan to go for 2-2. You're basically saying, my attack will time out with when +1 armor finishes after this. And I'll have a few siege tanks and an insane amount of marines. Oh, Solar needs to scout. Solar cancels the hatchery on the right side. That's interesting. He's decided to take the hatchery on the left. That's a good idea, because otherwise a push down the right denies your entire economy. Problem he's in right now, that's a lot of marines, and he's kind of low on units. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, man, Solar. Oh, my God, the hatchery gets canceled. 6 drones go down. The marines, Byun's just like, lol, are you not ready for this? I'm surprised he's not dropping question marks. To be fair, it's GSL. They usually only do that to each other in online tournaments. Byun and Solar love to smack talk each other in the chat usually. They don't do that at the bigger tournaments, though. They usually try to keep that to the online tournaments that are a little bit more relaxed atmosphere. They are good friends, of course. Let's take out the creep. That's a huge start for Byun. Oh, he goes second eBay Armory. Never mind, guys. Okay, he's not doing the 8 racks. He's decided, let's just play a long game. And to be fair, after that start, I mean, Solar's like way behind now. Solar's 1-1 finishes. He does start +2 Carapace straight away. He needs to start melee as well. I don't know if he realizes that only Carapace started. Uh-oh, Queen's in the open. Queen's in the open. Oh, get out of there, Solar. 1 Queen goes down. Run, 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 run. He's going to have to transfuse. Does save the other Queens. I think Bane is there. +2 melee starts behind this. Solar realizes the upgrades weren't quite there, which is good. He will take an upgrade lead. Without Baneling speed, that's nasty. Oh, the Marines punishing those Banelings. Banelings, for those who don't know, shooting a Baneling is more satisfying for a Marine than popping a pimple. It's more satisfying than peeling off a scab that's been ripe and ready to go for like a week, and you've just been staring at it, but you don't want to tear it off too early because it might bleed. Getting Banelings with Marines like that is so satisfying. It's Byun's favorite thing in the entire world. Masslink counterattack could get him, though. He's got the spotting depot, the famous spotting depot that you have to build on this map. It gives him warning. Does he react? Yep. He reacts in time, but then he still brings his army across the map. What the hell? Byun, zero respect. He loses a command center. Oh my god, is he just going all in? What is this? Byun playing like a psychopath right now. I thought he'd send that Marine tank back. He just loses the 4th command center. He's kind of all in on 57 workers right now. Byun, I think he's hesitating a little bit. He had such a good start. He's second-guessing himself. There is a lot of Link Bane here. Marine tank running forward. He's going to get flanked. Solar setting up a flank. You can see it on the mini-map. The Marines of Byun are trying to find where that attack's coming from. There we go, though. Big counterattack. The Marines on the front mostly pick up. The Banelings clear a lot of the Marines. The tanks go down almost instantaneously. He doesn't have enough space. There's not enough space, boys. Pick us up. There's no space. Oh, no. But he shoves in the left side at the same time and kills 12 drones. Byun playing an incredibly sloppy game, but it might be enough. He focuses down those 2 Banelings. Dude. Byun massing army right now, getting so much damage. The hatchery does get transfused and saved. Double drop goes there. He's going to shove back in the right side. Solar scrambling, but he can't quite hang on. Oh no, the Marines focus down all the Banelings again. Byun's favorite move. He focuses them all down before they can connect, and that is always a problem. If Byun catches you out of position, he opens up the shooting gallery, and again, another shooting gallery of Banelings. Byun, if your Banelings trickle into him, he will not be stopped. And he will gun you down with almost pure Marine. Normally, against Zerg, you need siege tanks or you cannot win. Byun says, my siege tanks are only there to bait you into engaging into my Marines. Lol, you idiot, you took my bait. You came to kill my siege tanks. I don't even care about them because I'm such a friggin' weirdo when it comes to using Marines. I'm just better than everyone else. And look how quick he was to stim down the left when he saw this was happening. So as this whole thing was happening, those Marines were stimming in. Yes, those Marines got wrecked. Yes, these trades look great. But remember, that first trade, killing his gold base, 6 drones on it, was massive. That already hugely slowed Solar down. So he's already behind. And then he starts losing all these drones. And then those guys boost in the main. These guys run in the right side. He's only got 6 Banelings out right now. And as we see, whenever they come in a line like that, you have to group up before you go in, or Byun will punish you. And he does it again with the next 4 Banelings as well. Super easy. Even though only a few of his Marines are in range, he just goes bang, 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 bang. As long as he has enough to one-shot, that'll be that. Byun takes the 2-1, and unfortunately, sadly, Solar is eliminated from the GSL in the losers match of Group D. But Byun will go forward and have one more chance to get revenge on NightMare. Well, it's been a long journey, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not over till the fat lady sings. And right now, it is the potentially broken wrist man, aka Byun, down here in the bottom right side, with a chance for revenge. NightMare in the top left. Honestly, just trounced him in that first series, and I imagine Byun is going to play very differently. I do not expect to see Gas first into Reactor Factory 3 Command Center again, and yet that is a Gas first. I mean, I would like to see him go for a Hellion drop. So you do a Gas first expand, but you go for like a Hellion drop or some sort of surprise. If he does the same build again, well, he's either gonna... This is the thing. Pro players often, they have so much faith in a build they're doing, they say, look, this might work. You might think it doesn't work strategically. I think if I execute better, I can make it work. I made mistakes, I'm going to fix those, and I know I can beat NightMare easily. I'm way better than he is. Maybe that's what Byun thinks. Maybe he does the exact same opening yet again. We'll see what happens. What matchup does Pig know the least about? Two off-meta players playing PvP. Probably PvP is my weakest, I would say. Knowledge base. But I watch enough of it to still know most of the details of the broad strokes, at least. Nexus going down over there. He sees the gas first. He sees the command center. Yeah. NightMare's going for a very standard opening himself behind this. Gateway core blocking the Reaper path. Second gas goes down after second pylon, so we can chrono an adept out. And Byun just not interested in varying up his openings. And to be fair, so when we first had the patch drop, the very first day of GSL, right after the patch dropped, Maru and Byun came into their GSL group and looked absolutely atrocious against Hero. They both played 3CC every game, or a lot of the games. They let Hero get map control, they let him jump on them with storm drops and charge lot timings, and he kind of just ripped him to shreds. And since then, we saw a lot of the players, the top guys, go back to the older styles, the 3-Raxes, all the different pushes. But Byun is just dead set focused on playing 3CC. Now, to be fair, it's a different version of 3CC. He's not going for the Cyclones. He's going to go for the second Barracks, and he's trying to like fake like he's going Cyclones, hope he gets a shield battery reaction out of NightMare, and he's just going to play, you know, 3-Rax. It's not a bad build. I just think when you've played 3CC 3 times in a row, any version of 3 Command Center naturally is a weaker option. We'll see how NightMare responds. I still think Byun comes in as a favorite, but he's had to fight from behind, hasn't he? Against Solar, every game. Against NightMare, he got kind of smashed in their second map. The first one was very competitive, but those storms, just so many storms coming in from every side. Something funky about seeing 3 command centers. I mean, he knows it's something different now. Seeing the barracks on the reactor. Gas first, you're really not expecting a 3 command center 3-Rax build. Let's look at this from NightMare's viewpoint, guys. We're on his camera. I want to see what NightMare thinks about this game. Because Byun doesn't scout. He doesn't care what his opponent's doing. He just picks a build and goes for it. And it's more about him denying the scouting. Look at that, battery in the main. Battery in the main. So he's thinking, oh, there might be like a Hellion drop or some sort of like quick factory and starport. He might go for a Marine drop in my main. So he's playing safe. Oh, yeah, warping in lots of Stalkers. So this is actually really good for Byun, I would say. Because NightMare doesn't seem to realize that 3-Rax is actually coming in behind this. Right now, because it's a delayed 3-Rax, you want to go for a third Nexus as quickly as possible. Defend with some Blink Stalkers and then tech upwards into Colossus, usually. But it looks like he's going to go Colossus before third base. The scary thing with this is you may lose your third Nexus if he stims out there with a crisp timing. Now, if we go back to everyone's camera, we can see there is no timing attack on the way. He's cut Marine production. It's all workers, engineering bay, factory. So it's all economy and tech. Very little army production for Byun. And that tells you he's not going to commit to an attack. This is something you guys want to really pay attention to when you study pro Terrans. When you're first learning Terran, it's just always build workers, always build army, always build depots. As you get higher level, you start to realize there's times where you stop building army to build upgrades and economy to focus on the long game. And if you want to focus on doing a push and hitting harder, you sometimes want to skip a few workers or skip an upgrade and just focus on non-stop army production. because you can't always focus completely on both at once. Terran is usually towing a line where they don't quite have enough money to use all of their economic and army production at the same time. And in this case, we can see that Byun is very economically focused. As I say that, SCVs are being cut now. That third command center has not been building SCVs for a little while. There we go, starts up again. Observer comes in, sees the third command center. There is a third nexus coming up behind this. Charges on the way, as well as a Templar archives. 4 gases are mining. Looks like a Reaper does die at the front of the Stalker. But the Observer in the main sees everything. He knows there's a long time until any attack comes because Starport's not even finished. This gives you the confidence as NightMare to chrono probes. And most importantly, remember, he's a King of Storm. I want to see 2 High Templar warped in the moment this finishes. Maybe even 3. Does he go High Templar or Storm first? Let's see if NightMare does my favorite habit, which is High Templar first. Well, he does 2 High Templar and Storm at the same time. I'll allow it. If you've got enough gas to already warp in 2, then that's a-okay. I always criticize it when someone starts Storm and doesn't have enough gas to make any High Templar. But in this case, it makes perfect sense. You're going to be able to get 3 Storms up very quickly anyway. Very nicely played. The Depth's going to go down. Could kill a Marine if it turns to fight. Stalker's on there. Ooh, goes after the Marauder. Almost gets it, but good pullback by Byun. Saves it. Stalker's trying to pull south. Oh, get out, get out. Run, NightMare. Concussive ain't done, so he should be able to blink out of here. Good pullback for NightMare. Scan goes down. Looks like the Observer did die. That's 2 Observers that have died this game. Stalkers are rotating. Careful. Byun's out there. He's hunting for you, buddy. Ooh. Good blink back, though. NightMare's reaction speed is great. 3 High Templar, 1 Zealot in the prison. Oh, he drops the Zealot, picks it back up again. That's a mistake. He wants 4 High Templar in there, I believe. I'm a big fan of only 2 High Templar in the prison. Notice he's going to load the high energy High Templar in there first, I believe. Interesting. Army coming through the middle. Looks like a Stalker or 2 did go down. Double drop moving north. Zealot counterattack. Ooh, that's a good Zealot counter. Byun scrambles back with everything except the double drop, which is heading north. Zealot's trying to split to the right side as well. That Marauder on the left didn't die. Only 1 Marauder going down. There's a lot of Zealots to get trapped. Uh-oh. Those Zealots only kill 1 Marine, 1 Marauder. Oh, he gets 1 more Marauder. So 2 Marauders and a Marine for like 6 Zealots. It does pull Byun home, but that's still a bad trade cost for NightMare. Double drop up here being a nuisance as well. If you can land a Storm on these Marines, you can clear this up. The pickup happens. And the Stalkers should be able to deal with that Marine and keep him pinned for now. Double drop into the main base. Storm drop's the only way of quickly dealing with that. Oh, no. Dude, nice play here for Byun. Oh, he's being such a nuisance. Oh, gosh, you gotta pull the probes. He's gotta get out of there. Where's the Prism? Prism is nearby. Big army on the front, big army in the back. Byun's all over him. Byun is all over him. He realizes it's so hard. He wants to clump up for Storm. That's what NightMare wants him to do. Byun's just refusing to let that happen. He's like, I'm over here. Now I'm over here. Now I'm over here. Good luck keeping up with this with that Storm drop. You want 1 single push to deal with, and I'm just not giving it to you. And NightMare seemed to think that drop was just going to hide in the dead space and kind of respect him a little bit more, but Byun is showing 0 respect for his opponent in this game. The Forge went down, which means no upgrades for NightMare in the rematch here, and Byun seems to have gained some confidence the longer this series goes. His 3 command center play, all-consuming right now, able to get aggressive when he needs to. He's got 5 barracks pumping behind this. There is Storm drop coming, but there's so few Zealots and Stalkers, and the +1 upgrade advantage is huge. High Templar, they were slightly out of range at first. 1 High Templar goes down. Good Storms landing. 1 more good Storm could be a game changer. 2 more High Templar are ready to Storm. Byun is wisely going to back away. Units lost tab is 2,000 resources in Byun's favor right now. Byun is so far ahead in this game. It is actually crazy. Watch out for the Storms, though. My God, he stays so deep. Byun unnecessarily risky there. Pull back and heal, my bro. Pull back and heal. That was a good way of closing the gap there. Only 1,200 resources behind now is NightMare. NightMare's on 64 probes, trying to limp his way to Robo Bay and a +1 upgrade. Meanwhile, that double drop in the back still dancing around at the very top of our screen. 4th command center is halfway done. 2 Vikings, 2 Widowmines, and 2 Ghosts are on the way. 2nd Engineering Bay and Armory coming out. Depot on the right side also. Oh, hello. Storm drop. Look in there. Oh, he's just got nothing in between him. Nothing's guarding the natural. The High Templar just all get jumped on at that 3rd base. Oh, the Widowmines kill the full Prism. Only 1 High Templar gets out. It's a High Templar. It doesn't even have Storm. That's it. That's lights out. That's it. Look at this. Zealots fighting into a choke on the left side. The Stalkers on the right are getting shredded. The High Templar finally gets Storm energy, but even that's not going to be enough. It goes down. Wow. The medevacs do fly into the Stalkers in the back, but Byun is all over NightMare in the rematch. NightMare, such a promising first series, but the start to this one has been all Byun so far. It's just, it's the thing of Protoss Nightmares, isn't it? I think that first Zealot counterattack just being idled was a big mistake. I think if NightMare killed the Marauder and just ran away at the moment he saw Byun was coming back, maybe left 2 Zealots to just shift-click some SCVs in the third, that would have been good. But I think NightMare throwing those Zealots away was kind of the beginning of some sloppy mistakes, and then letting that drop just slide into his main really cost him big time. His 4th base got delayed, and now NightMare's trying to make magic happen with 3 High Templar, but there's Ghost on the map. He's only got 3 High Templar, no War Prism. EMP means no side. He's got 1 Psystorm in the back. Coming up from the bottom side, the High Templar is far back. He's going to try to come in at some stage. The Zealots need to pull back. The High Templar's trying to dance in and out. He does land a decent Psystorm, a very good Psystorm even. The Bio pushing through though. Byun just disrespecting the Storm, disrespecting the Stalkers because he knows he's so far ahead. He senses he's got the momentum, so he just shoves on through. He's like, nah, I can eat a Storm. We'll survive. We'll come out the other end. And NightMare is going to try to intercept the reinforcements. He's attacking his own Observer there. Some panicky misclicks going on. Observer does dodge the scan, which is nice. Sieges that out of range. 1 Colossus as well as 3 new High Templar have been made. NightMare's going to try to re-expand to the south. He's only on 54 probes. Byun's 4th base is established with 72 workers. 2nd starport's on the way, as well as a 6th, 7th, and 8th barracks, all building reactors and tech labs. The Bio Army attacks the front. Byun is just happy to take any trade. He's so far ahead on the numbers. The EMP's on the High Templar. The Colossus is outgunned. And without even battery overcharge, that is going to be that. The Prism doing some hot drops, some hot pickups. NightMare has to tap out in game 1 of the final deciding match of Group D. Down in the bottom right side, we've got Byun. And he's up a game looking fantastic in that first one. That's a confidence booster. And NightMare, does he let this Zealot finish? This might just be a safety Zealot in case there's an eBay block. I think he's going to cancel that. Yeah, cancels the Zealot because there was no eBay block. So NightMare is doing a no scout opening, which I think is especially powerful if you open Oracle. I really hope he opens Oracle. On the other hand, I don't know if NightMare's ever opened Oracle. He has, right? We've seen him open Oracle before, I think. I think Oracle is so good if you open Gas first, no Scout. It's because you can chrono out Adepts, Warp Gate, and an Oracle all at a very good timing. And it's just a very powerful opening, personally. All right, Twilight Council's coming in right now, as well as Adept. Sorry for the silence there, guys. Just kind of sucking in what you'd want to do and thinking about it in my head in this game. Twilight Council coming up is going to be Blink. Ooh! Classic 3 racks? Ooh! Okay, so he's going to do double Cyclone. He's going to build a Tech Lab, and then he's going to swap these 2 back around. We're going to see a 2-base Marine tank push. It might be a bunker all-in. It might be a bunker all in. I think what he's going to do is build 2 Cyclones to make it look like the 3cc build. NightMare's going to come in, think it's the 3cc build, and because NightMare never opens Sentry, he can't confirm. Byun's getting tricky in this series, guys. He's changing up the mode. He's making it look the same in the opening, but he is adding surprises now, and I really appreciate that. If he played the same opening every game, I would have hated it. But look at this. He starts building units. He's going to cancel those. Once that, yep. Because now he knows the Adept has to run away. There can't be another Shade coming in right now. Or if there is, he'll be able, okay, you see I've swapped. You don't know about the fact that there's a 3rd barracks here. So he starts tank Marines. He's going to go either Stim or Combat Shields there. There is a very gimmicky build, the coffee build, where you actually go Concussive and Shields on these 2 barracks. And you hit with like 6 Marauders, 14 Marines, and 2 to 3 tanks. There's no medevacs, super all in, but very hard to stop. Luckily for NightMare, he's going 4-gate Blink, which counters this build. Now, to be fair, I have seen a lot of Protoss players scout the 3 barracks and then still just blink in and lose all their Stalkers, not realizing he's doing also a 2... Like, you're both massing army on 2 base. Neither of you should be aggressive in this situation until much later. You should both, when you realize what the other player is doing, kind of back off and be very careful with your engagements, because 4-gate Blink's very scary. Mass Marine tank's also very scary. Now, to be fair, Byun doesn't have to go all in. If we see a 3rd gas, a starport, and an engineering bay, That means Byun's wanting to play a longer game. However, notice there is no add-on on the third barracks, which really indicates that Byun wants to go all in. He's got another tank queued up already. He's playing, yeah, guys, Byun's going for a crazy push. He's just building depots, marines, and tanks right now. Looks like he managed to kill an adept there. The siege tank's going to unsiege. He's going for it. Combat shields. He's going combat shields first. Oh, I thought he was going to do the stim version. He's doing the combat shields push. I love this version. He doesn't even have stim because he's not going to have medevacs. He's like, well, I can't heal my stims. Why would I use stim? Four SCVs, a pack of marines, cyclones, and tanks. Oh, he sees it. NightMare sees it. He sees the SCVs. Was he watching, though? Stalkers should be able to clean this up, but he's missed the move out, which is a problem for NightMare. NightMare should have the numbers to deal with this. He can blink on that, take out these cyclones. This is so good for NightMare, catching the 2 cyclones, but he needs a lot more stalkers at home. His batteries and his immortal are just starting. He needs nothing but fighting units right now. The problem is bunkers will get entrenched in this position unless he can blink on it in the next 25 seconds. Stalkers, oh, he's coming in from the front. Okay, that's surprising. I thought he would flank from the other side and cut off the reinforcements. His prism is on the other side. I'd like to see him put in that prism on the pillar so he can see when units are coming through the middle. He should move to the right lane and cut off these reinforcements. NightMare's panicking a little bit right now. He's letting the reinforce rally across the map. Byun is playing this so risky. This is ridiculously greedy. The way Byun is moving his army out is insane, but so far he's getting away with it. NightMare, he's making charge. Dark Shrine would be an absolute game winner, but he hasn't thought of that. Dark Shrine in general is very good in these scenarios. Stalker's distracting there. Stalker dropping the main's going to start picking off the workers. That's a very good move. Byun's SCV is going to try to fight like they're actual warriors, but they are absolutely not warriors. They are not fighting units. They are workers. The tanks and the marines will make it okay, though. NightMare not really blinking out. He should blink out, and he will blink out at least most of the stalkers. Kill a lot of these SCVs. Byun's all in. Byun is all in. Dark Shrine goes down. He realizes, NightMare realizes he should have this. He should have this. He's just killed 12 workers. He's going to take out a tank on the bottom and then pull back. That tank was way too far forward. Beautiful move. He's going to lose his robo here in a little bit. If he can get another immortal out first, though, that will help. If he can just get mass gateway and DTs and zealots out, he should be able to win. Stalkers in the main base, 6 more worker kills. The marine tank's coming after them. He doesn't have enough to one-shot SCVs anymore, which is rough, but up to 20 workers killed. The immortal, is that going to get out? 3 seconds left. Oh, nice focus fire for Byun. Byun stops the second immortal getting out. Lovely move. Right now, NightMare's just trying to buy time. Warp in zealots. With charge zealots, he can clear this army and win this entire game. He is way ahead once those zealots hit the tanks, but he needs to clear this army, and he just lost more stalkers. He's lost so many stalkers. His probes are going down. Pull the probes. He should be pulling the probes away. He's going to try and defend this natural. He doesn't want to go down to 1 base up against a 2 base Terran. However, I think he could survive even if he does that. He's going to try and recall. Charge is done. He just doesn't have that many warp-ins yet. The Prism is here as well. He can unload the Prism and break this. The Nexus survives. NightMare holds on. And the Zealots will jump on top. The bunker's trading pretty well, though. Hats off to the bunker making the best of this. Dark Templar are going to come in right now. There is another attack moving out behind this. Remember that Byun has built another giant army at home of Marine Tank. DTs should be able to go win this game, though. He didn't want to show the DTs, so I think he's hidden them. As long as he doesn't fly the Prism into the Marines, no, that wouldn't happen. As long as he just keeps trickling DTs in, Byun only has a few scans and he should be dead. There's no way Byun sees... Oh, he sees the Prism. He does see the Prism, but he doesn't know what that necessarily means. These DTs could do damage. How many scans has he got? He's saving scans. He knows that this is a threat. He saved scans. He gets 1 DT, but as long as this DT waits just outside his scan range and he warps in more, NightMare can do so well. He's going to force another scan. These DTs just have to pull back. He's got to just give up the natural. DTs are in the main base at the same time. Those DTs could do massive damage on the other side. There's still a scan available back at home. NightMare's going to lose his natural, but that's not the end of the world. He's just got to go in 1 DT at a time. The DTs will win this game. The Prism! The Prism just got focused down! He lost the Prism with 3 DTs inside it! No! NightMare! He lost 3 DTs in a Prism, or 2 DTs inside the Prism. Oh no! NightMare! Oh gosh, oh man. We talk about those sweet dreams and those beautiful nightmares. This is most certainly a sweet dream for Byun. Catching the Prism means the next scan can kill that DT and he can get back to mining. He's got a turret coming up. He's not dead. He's still got some mining. He's still able to mine, and he's got 2 orbitals against 1. He killed most of the probes. I thought the DTs were going to kill everything, but he gets a turret up on the front as well, which is game-changing. That turret allows him to kill the DT. The tank's here. Guardian Shield Zealots come in. The Stalkers have to go for it. NightMare knows it's now or never. But dude, Byun with a vicious bunker marine tank all in gets him big damage here, and that's going to be that because he's got an economy at home. It might not be a big one, but it is an economy. The Marines come in behind it. The DT is killing the command center, but only ever so slowly. 6 more probes go down, stuck on one base mining with 4 mineral patches. Meanwhile, that natural is fresh. The Marines come in. They will stim after that DT. They take it out, and that is such a bummer. Don't worry, I will rewind at the end of this game to catch what happened with the Prism. Even if the Prism didn't die, if he got the turret up on the natural, he would have been fine. Hats off to Byun, man. I always feel like DTs are a game winner in these situations, but remember, NightMare didn't go for the Dark Shrine for a very long time, right? It was only once the bunkers were up, he started the Dark Shrine. So it was kind of like an afterthought. If you go for the Dark Shrine a minute faster, I do think it wins the game. But in this scenario, I don't think there's any way out of the woods now. DT is going to try to run in, and that's going to go down, and that's going to be GG. As NightMare realizes just nothing he can do. Oh, Byun fights back after a rough start, and he gets the win. Okay, so guys, it was a Prism with... It was 3 DTs and a Zealot in the Prism. Let's just watch everything that happened over here in actual game time. Oh, he flew right over the rally, and he lost it with a Zealot and a DT inside. Wait, what? No, it had 2 DTs inside. Oh, that was 2, because he dropped the Zealot. Sorry, he drops the Zealot and a DT. It dies with 2 Dark Templar inside. Neither player was watching. He just shift-clicked it to unload in the other base. Oh, if he just unloaded the DT here and then clicked it to attack the wall and then get in or something, or unloaded it and just clicked a DT to walk to the natural, it would have been so much better. Oh, damn, man. Because then he could have won, because then he could have slowly mined out the last couple thousand resources in his main, while the DTs are just like spread out, never lets the turrets get up, and does all that stuff. But instead, there's a scan available. So imagine if he does a scan, as soon as it wears out, DTs are running in killing this turret. He doesn't have any other scans available and he's dead. But as it is, because there's no way he would have had enough scans to defend at home and the front as well. This DT should have gone in, by the way, the second this scan. It should be waiting and it should have run in right now. I don't think it would have got it though. Number 1, because he has a scan that's just come in on the natural. But number 2, because he could also body block. Really well played for Byun. Hats off to him. I think there's a few things also earlier in the game that went really unfortunate. Like when Byun moved straight past him. Because I think moving out with Byun's attack against 4-gate blink is really bad. But because they both happened to move down opposite lanes, if they saw each other, this would have been really bad for Byun. He would have had to turn around, go home, start SCV, start a starport, start engineering bay. Like, you can't push into 4-gate blink. You'll lose all your Marines and Cyclones and tanks on the way across the map, but it just took NightMare way too long to realize what was happening. Nonetheless, hats off to Byun, man. This is a nasty build. It hits so hard. It's such a difficult build to deal with. 2 Cyclones, 9-10 Marines with combat shields kicking in right now, 2 tanks, all hitting at 5 minutes and 15 seconds outside the natural of Protoss. That's tough to beat. Really nice game by Byun, and he makes it through to the top 8 of GSL.